Chapter 638. Orochimaru appeared. Early in the morning, Naruto received a good news. Where is he? Naruto located Obito and teleported directly to him. The news of Orochimaru was passed to him by Obito. He's gone, and before he left this. Obito gave a box to Naruto. Naruto's heart jumped. If this was an urn, then it was very likely that his mother was inside. Uzumaki Kushina. Naruto took a deep breath. She had never felt so nervous before. She carefully took the urn. Obito continued, "Because you said that if you hand over the ashes, I will let bygones be bygones, so I didn't leave Orochimaru." Naruto stared at the urn in his hand and replied, "Well, you did a good job." With Orochimaru's character, it's hard to see his real body. If you do it, it's not worth it. I have something to do, I'll leave first, other things will be discussed later. Naruto came and went quickly, and in the blink of an eye, he disappeared. Only Obito was left with a complicated heart. Obito frowned. Why do I always feel like I've forgotten something important recently? Especially when I think of resurrection, I can't calm down. Do I have someone I want to resurrect? Well, it should be Minato-sensei. That feeling in the dark made him very annoyed. Or because of Madara. One of the tasks given to him by Madara was to resurrect him after getting the Rinnegan. How can I perform that kind of task? It's all because of you that Minato-sensei is in trouble. Naruto also became an orphan. Obito shook his head. Don't think about it, let's go see the girl. Yesterday she said she was not feeling well, and I don't know if she's better today. Manjikyu Sharingan opened. A vortex formed in the space around Obito's body. Space transmission. On the other side, Naruto directly teleported back to the dormitory. He contacted Gurney and said, "Bring a death row prisoner to my room." Then he added, "A woman." Gurney could sense the seriousness in Naruto's tone and accepted the mission without hesitation. Soon after, he brought a person over according to Naruto's request. After entering the room, he saw the layout of the room and the scroll that was unfurled on the ground. "Edo Tensei? Can't you just leave this to the system?" Naruto replied, "The person who is going to be resurrected this time is my mother." "All right, you can go out and guard the door. Don't let anyone come near." Gurney did not ask any more questions. He acknowledged the order and left. The person who was tied up calmly watched Naruto walk closer, then pulled off the high adhesive tape on her mouth. It hurt a little, and the corners of the woman's eyes twitched uncontrollably, but she still said stubbornly, "No matter what you do to me, I won't give in." The woman's voice was hoarse. Her vocal cords must have been severely damaged. However, this wasn't a projection of Edo Tensei, so he didn't need to worry too much about it. After removing the tape from her mouth, Naruto sat on the chair and began to think. His heart was still filled with complicated emotions. From a certain point of view, the fourth-generation couple wasn't his parents. But they were the parents of the body he was currently using. The complicated emotions that came from being connected by blood made him want to meet his parents. "I hope my mother won't nag too much." Naruto took a deep breath. He made his final decision. The scroll unfurled. Runes spread from the scroll and enveloped the prisoner as a sacrifice. "I'll give you a choice, surrender, or die." Naruto looked at the woman inside the formation. The woman opened her eyes wide. Naruto already knew the result. Without waiting for her to say anything, he activated Edo Tensei. "Your loyalty is admirable. Rest in peace." The woman's body froze. In her eyes, a huge golden sword was slashing towards her. It was a sword strike that caused people to be terrified. As the sword swung down, she lost all sense of her body. She felt empty. It wasn't death, but an indescribable feeling that she had never felt before. It was as if she had suddenly lost the most important thing to her. She saw her body blankly falling down. Her body lightly floated upwards. She saw the enemy she wanted to assassinate and spoke to her, "Your loyalty is admirable, rest in peace." That person looked at her as she floated up and said those words. Is this respect for me? But what's the use of this respect if I'm about to die? The mission failed. Her body continued to float upwards like a puff of smoke. At first, it condensed, then dissipated. It's over. What a terrible mission. The woman closed her eyes. The Edo Tensei continued. In Naruto's eyes, the outline of a woman slowly formed. He had seen this woman before. She was inside his body. When the nine-tailed seal was completely undone. But before she could say anything, she was swallowed by preserved egg. The vortex sucked Kushina's soul into the vessel. Pieces of ash drifted from the void of space and landed on the surface of the vessel. Soon, a new face replaced the original owner's appearance. The prison uniform she was wearing was also replaced by Woodleaf's old-fashioned clothes from many years ago. The clothes were changing, as if she was looking for a favorite set to wear. The final shape. The vortex Kushina frowned and was about to open her eyes. Naruto suddenly took out a talisman from his hand. This was a talisman that stripped the Edo Tensei of their intelligence, used to completely control them. In the past, Naruto rarely used it. Today, he used it because he didn't know how to face his mother. Naruto took a deep breath, then exhaled. It seems there's no problem with the ashes. Then, let's just directly revive her. Naruto used the system and took out a coffin. The coffin opened, revealing the fourth Naruto lying inside. The Rinnegan connected the souls of the two bodies. Then, a mysterious force locked onto his soul. Naruto's hair stood on end. An unprecedented sense of crisis struck him. His intuition of danger at the time. If he used that ninjutsu, his soul would be used as a bargaining chip for an equal exchange. It seems that this technique doesn't only require chakra. Naruto stopped casting. That feeling also disappeared. Naruto touched his head. He was sweating. Do I have to sacrifice a life to revive the dead? I wonder if I can modify this technique as well. For example, transferring the sacrifice from himself to someone else. Just like the Edo Tensei. If that's the case, I'll need an external sacrifice technique. Modifying the outer path of reincarnation. This couldn't be done by others because the inner path of reincarnation came with the Rinnegan. But for Naruto, he could think of an external device. Mental network. Naruto found Tobirama. Tobirama, are you busy right now? Tobirama's expression darkened as he replied, I'm busy. Naruto didn't listen at all. If you're not busy, then come to me. I want to modify a ninjutsu that requires the core theory of the Edo Tensei. Chapter 639. Rest in Peace. Rinnegan Dojutsu was triggered. Outer Path Reincarnation Heavenly Technique. Naruto made a seal with his hand. The scroll unfolded flat, and the ink line spread out from the scroll, encircling the bodies of the two prisoners in the array. Sacrifice. The sacrifice array was launched, and the creepy feeling of facing the crisis of life and death disappeared. But the bodies of the two prisoners began to dry up visibly. The scream of horror was full of hysteria. It was a desire for life. Naruto watched all this and sighed. Rest in peace. Who told you not to grasp the opportunity when there was one? The bodies of the fourth-generation Naruto couple lit up, and the ashes of the Edo Tensei were constantly burning away. Rinnegan began to frantically devour chakra. Naruto watched the flesh and blood of the fourth-generation Naruto couple begin to rebuild. Tobirama, are you not going to resurrect? Naruto looked at Senju Tobirama, who was standing on the side. Tobirama shook his head. No, I have sinned enough. Naruto nodded and didn't persuade anymore. Tobirama suddenly said, Naruto, this kind of ninjutsu, you should use it less in the future. Naruto smiled and said, I don't care if you want to talk about sins, I have already sinned deeply. Tobirama suddenly smiled and said, if the sin can be shared, then the sin of resurrecting me will be borne by me. Naruto glanced at Tobirama and gave him a blank look. You will bear your own? Isn't that too stingy? It's a drop in the bucket for me. When the two were joking with each other, the physical reconstruction of the fourth-generation couple was completed. When the two people's lungs contracted and began to inhale the first breath of air, Naruto knew that it was successful. Is it a sin to resurrect people like this? If it's a sin, it's good. In contrast, Naruto felt that for the Yondaime-sama couple, the biggest crime he committed was coming to this world. Because of his arrival, the past Naruto could be said to be dead. He snatched someone else's child, snatched their house, snatched their assets, and even snatched their daughter-in-law. He was truly guilty of the most heinous crimes. He was truly rotten to the core. Therefore, if there was a crime, he would carry it on his shoulders. Wouldn't that be fairer? Preserved egg. Can I still separate the things I devoured? In the space sealed by the 10-tailed beast, a string of words appeared on the surface of the giant white egg. Sure, don't you have the death god's edge? You want to separate that guy from your body, don't you? I have an immature suggestion. You can separate that Naruto, then stuff that kid's soul into his mother's stomach. Of course, the prerequisite is that there is a fertilized egg in his mother's womb. That way, the kid can be reborn and you can have a younger brother. Was that even possible? In the 10-tailed beast's sealed space, Naruto looked at the lines of scribbled words on the eggshell. His eyes lit up with hope. This method. It was highly feasible. Reliable. The Yondaime couple woke up. When they woke up, they saw each other. Uzumaki Kushina raised her hand and touched Namake's Minato's face, whispering, I didn't expect to dream of you after death. Namake's Minato looked at his wife intently, raised his body and touched her beautiful red hair. Kushina. The two looked at each other affectionately, and suddenly Namake's Minato turned his head and looked at Naruto. And Tobirama. He began to be nervous, which was a habit of ninja, full of vigilance for potential danger. But when he saw Tobirama, he relaxed again. He sat up from the ground and greeted Tobirama. You wouldn't be the second Naruto, Tobirama Senju, right? I didn't expect to meet you after death. Then Kushina also looked at Tobirama and said with surprise, Wow! It's really the second Naruto. My husband is the fourth Naruto. Naruto looked at the couple with interest and replied, Well, it's me. Namake's Minato heard his wife introduce him as the fourth Naruto, and scratched his head embarrassedly. I'm ashamed to say that I come here every few days. And this is... Namake's Minato looked at Naruto. Naruto's long red hair was really conspicuous. It was redder than Uzumaki Kushina's hair. If Uzumaki Kushina's hair was as red as a pepper, then Naruto's hair was like a bleeding pepper. Naruto introduced himself, My name is Uzumaki Naruto. For a moment, the scene was silent. From the reaction of the Yondaime couple, Naruto saw that the two didn't have the memory sealed in his body in the form of chakra. This was understandable, after all, it was only chakra sealed in the 8-trigram seal. Just like the shadow clone, although it had some memories and even personality of the main body, it wasn't the real main body. You said, your name is Uzumaki Naruto? Naruto's face didn't look good. Uzumaki Kushina burst into tears. Naruto? Are you dead too? You look so young. Naruto knew that he couldn't keep up the act, and it was better to tell them the truth as soon as possible. Uzumaki Kushina ran over and hugged Naruto. She was sobbing uncontrollably. Naruto quickly explained that, Mother, don't cry. When Uzumaki Kushina heard Naruto call her mother, she cried even harder. Naruto directly said, I'm not dead yet. The crying stopped immediately. Naruto continued to explain, In fact, I resurrected you. The amount of information was too much, and Naruto and his wife were stunned. At this time, Naruto also noticed Naruto's eyes. As Naruto, he knew much more than ordinary people. Those circular eyes reminded him of a legend. The eyes of the Rikudo Sennin, the Rinnegan. In fact, when Naruto saw Naruto for the first time, he noticed these eyes. But later, when he heard Naruto's self-introduction, he was interrupted halfway through his thoughts. My son is not dead? My son resurrected me? The first to recover was Uzumaki Kushina. She raised her hand and touched her face. The tears on her face were so real, and the temperature on her face, and the touch. Then she hugged Naruto in her arms again. Wow. Is this true? You're really my son. My son is too awesome. Naruto looked at the happy face of Uzumaki Kushina. This cheap mother didn't seem to blame him. Naruto, you've grown so big, it's so good. Let mom look at you again. Your hair is like mine, so good, you're really my son. Tell mom, do you have a girlfriend now? Naruto was completely ignored. Naruto answered honestly, yes. You're getting married next month. Uzumaki Kushina repeated, getting married next month? Doesn't that mean I can catch up with my son's wedding? That's great. Chapter 640. Then, can you let mom see your girlfriend too? Naruto nodded and agreed. I'll call her. In the spiritual network, Naruto contacted Hinata and said, Hinata, come to my room. Hinata didn't say anything and came over. Then she was stunned when she saw Ming Ma. Mom, this is my fiancé, Hinata. Hinata, this is my mother. Uzumaki Kushina began to look at Hinata from the perspective of a mother-in-law. Hinata was stunned. Mother. This is Naruto's mother? Is she meeting his parents? Hinata panicked. The spiritual network has begun to blame Naruto. Why didn't you tell me? Naruto replied stupidly. Say what? Hinata was angry and said angrily, I said I wanted to see your mother. I'm not ready. What if my future mother-in-law is not satisfied with something? Naruto comforted, no, my mother is very easy to get along with. Hinata was angry. Easy to get along with is with you, her son. You are her son, of course, you are easy to get along with. But I am her daughter-in-law. Hinata braced herself and bowed respectfully. Hello, auntie. Is that how you address her? Please point it out if I'm wrong. Uzumaki Kushina greeted Hinata, helped her up, and praised, You are so beautiful. Are you from the Hyuga clan? Do your elders agree to this marriage? Without waiting for Hinata to answer, Uzumaki Kushina continued, It doesn't matter if they don't agree. I agree. If anyone disagrees, I will beat them all. Don't worry, even if I can't beat them, I can let the child's father do it. Saying that, she gave a look to Minato, who had been ignored for a long time. Minato's old face was dark. Is this how you talk to your daughter-in-law? Are you from the underworld? I, the fourth generation Naruto, actually married a gangster. That. You guys can chat. Minato was embarrassed. Hinata quivered. Naruto's father was also here? He immediately saluted Minato. Hello, uncle. After greeting each other, Uzumaki Kushina pulled Hinata away to chat. Minato finally had the opportunity to talk to Naruto. I never thought that I would be able to see my son with my own eyes. You don't hate your father, do you? Naruto replied, Are you referring to Nine Tails? I hated it when I was young, but I got used to it when I grew up. Minato nodded. How is Nine-Tailed doing now? After Minato's resurrection, he could feel that the other half of Nine Tails was not in his body. Naruto pointed to his body. He's already in my body. Do you want to see him? Minato shook his head. I don't want to see him. That guy should hate me. Naruto didn't know why, but he still said it when he didn't need to. Nine Tails, he, has now merged with other Bijou. Now it should be called Atsutsuki Kagaya. Naruto didn't say Jubi. In the sealed space of Jubi, Atsutsuki Kagaya glanced outside the seal. Atsutsuki Kagaya's seal was somewhat similar to the seal of Nine Tails in the past. It was a huge cage. However, outside Atsutsuki Kagaya's cage, there was a long string of prayer beads wrapped around the iron gate. Minato wondered, Atsutsuki Kagaya? That's its name? Naruto nodded. Minato nodded and didn't ask any more. The two were silent for a long time. Minato scratched the back of his head embarrassedly. He blamed himself. I had something to say, but suddenly I can't say it. Your father is stupid enough. By the way, resurrecting us, will it also cause you a lot of damage? Naruto didn't hide it and pointed to the 2 corpses on the ground that hadn't been dealt with yet. The power to resurrect the dead is the power of these eyes. Originally, I needed to sacrifice my life, but I let them do it instead. These people are people who came to assassinate me. Minato looked at the corpses on the ground. He took a deep breath. In any case, although they are enemies, we should thank them and give them a proper burial. Do they still have family? If you can. Naruto agreed. Okay, there are still family members. Since they were originally implicated, let's pardon them. Hearing Naruto's words, Minato nodded with satisfaction. He asked again, Are you Naruto of Woodleaf now? Speaking of Naruto, Minato looked at Naruto. Naidame Hokage stood there quietly after his initial reply. Naruto replied, No. Woodleaf is destroyed, and I unified the 5 major countries, including other small countries. Hearing this, Uzumaki Kushina, who was chatting with Hinata, suddenly stopped. Although she was chatting with Hinata, she had been paying attention to her son. Woodleaf was destroyed. The 5 major countries were unified? That's a lot of information. Naruto, are you a daimyo now? Or unique in the whole world? Uzumaki Kushina came over again. Naruto replied, Well, yes. But not daimyo, I changed it to emperor. Well, it's more domineering. Uzumaki Kushina once again gave Naruto a big hug and praised, You're my son. You're awesome. My son is now a supreme person. You're more promising than your father. Then he looked at Hinata and praised, No wonder you can get a girl from the Hyuga clan. That clan rarely marries outsiders. Emperor. The emperor of the whole world. Minato looked at his son, who was a head taller than him. The voice in his heart came from the pride in his heart. As Naruto, he knew how difficult it was to be a leader. Moreover, Naruto was at a higher level. Very good. Minato also praised him. Then he said, Then, what about the original daimyo? Or the shadows of other villages? Naruto thought about it and took out a resident identity card of the Mingdu Empire. Father, drip a drop of blood on it. Then you should be able to find out most of the things you want to know. He handed a card to Minato. Naruto gave another card to his mother Kushina. The Yondaime-sama couple didn't hesitate and bound the card according to Naruto's instructions. The beginner's tutorial began. Minato was much calmer. Uzumaki Kushina didn't hold back at all. She made a big fuss to show her surprise. After the 2 learned how to operate the system. Information about Woodleaf, Naruto, the super brain system connected to the database sorted out all the information for the 2 elders to see. This information had a great impact on Minato. The destruction of Woodleaf made him a little distressed. With his keen insight, he could naturally see that it didn't make sense. The most unreasonable thing was that the 5 major countries were destroyed too quickly. Looking at the records of the disappearance of the Biju, thinking about what Naruto said about the fusion of 9 Biju, his good son was among them. To tell the truth, he was very proud. Although the destruction of Woodleaf was sad, as a father, his son's ultimate achievement made him proud. Minato continued to look at the information. Jiraiya-sensei, he's still single. Chapter 641. Is Jiraiya-sensei okay? Namake's Minato looked at Naruto, and Uzumaki Kushina also looked at him. Naruto thought for a while and replied, Not really, he's been worried about the Woodleaf. Unfortunately, in the end, the Woodleaf is gone. And, as you can see, he's still single. He was still single. This was really a little sad. His son is about to get married, and Sensei is still single. Oh, why do I have the urge to laugh? Namake's Minato suppressed this impulse. In front of his son, he felt that it was better to be dignified. Right. Naruto suddenly said, I caught the masked ninja who was good at space ninjutsu. As soon as this sentence was said, the atmosphere suddenly became heavy again. Uzumaki Kushina looked serious. You mean, the one who attacked us when you were born? Naruto nodded and said, yes. Uzumaki Kushina's chakra was uncontrollably violent. Where is he? Is he still alive? A murderous aura was coming. Naruto wants to give up Obito? Of course not, but since the Yondaime couple has been resurrected, as long as they see Obito again, they will definitely recognize him. So Naruto decided to take the initiative. First, he will bring up this matter, and then he will make a good lie to help Obito. This way, everyone will be happy, and it's better than fighting and killing. After all, the Yondaime couple has been resurrected. In that case, it would be good to let all the enmity vanish like smoke. The mastermind is dead. It's Uchiha Madara. But it's complicated. In short, Uchiha Madara's Sharingan broke through from Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan to Rinnegan. Naruto pointed to his eyes and said, it's my eyes now. Then he used Rinnegan to control Obito. He made Obito launch that attack. Uchiha Madara. Obito. Namake's Minato's pupils shrank. He hesitated. Then, the person who controlled Nine Tails to attack with Leaf is, Naruto replied. It's Obito who lost his will and was controlled by Uchiha Madara. Namake's Minato took a breath. He muttered to himself, how? So, in the Battle of Kanobi Bridge, Obito didn't die? Naruto replied, with Obito's injuries at that time, you can say he's dead. Uchiha Madara used Hashirama's cells to reconstruct half of Obito's body so that he could survive. So, doesn't that mean that Uchiha Madara saved Obito? That teacher didn't save, he saved Obito, that person saved. So, Minato took a deep breath. Now, how is he now? Is the S's and the S, this, the S, this. The truth, comma, the S, he's outside the palace right now. He wants to meet you, but he doesn't know how to face you. Obito is still alive. Hearing this, Minato's heart suddenly felt a lot more at ease. Kushina. Minato looked at Uzumaki Kushina. Uzumaki Kushina frowned and said, ah, I know, do what you want. But you forgive that guy, that's your business. I can't forgive him, then she added, forgiveness is not today, and it's not that simple. Anyway, don't let me see him now. Otherwise, I'll beat him. Minato breathed a sigh of relief. There was a smile on his face. Then I'll go outside to see him. From Uzumaki Kushina's reaction, Minato knew that his wife didn't have much resentment. Spiritual network. Naruto contacted Obito. Did you take off your mask? Don't make things difficult for my parents. Obito quickly replied, I took it off long ago. Naruto was satisfied. That's good, I'll take your sensei to see you. As for your sensei's wife, she doesn't want to see you. Obito met with Namake's Minato. Naruto also left. After all, if the master and apprentice wanted to talk, his presence would destroy the atmosphere. Naruto also didn't return to Kushina and Hinata. Right now, he wanted to get some fresh air. Tobirama suddenly appeared behind Naruto. He laughed. I thought that person would be executed by you after you used him. Now it seems that you really intend to bury those things. The person Tobirama was referring to was Obito. Tobirama was one of the few people who knew that Obito had Koto Amatsukami. Naruto laughed at himself. Am I so bad? Tobirama laughed and said nothing. His face was full of, you don't know if you're bad or not. Seeing this, Naruto pulled a long face and rolled his eyes at Senju Tobirama. He said indignantly, for my own people, I'm as gentle as the spring breeze. Only against the enemy, I occasionally use the winter wind. The two looked at each other and suddenly laughed. After a while, Naruto asked, you really don't want to resurrect? Tobirama shook his head and said, my mission has been completed, and there is nothing to do. Why should I be greedy for those decades? Naruto looked up and down at Tobirama and was full of curiosity. You are still single? Do you want to be single when you're buried? Tobirama's face turned black like a potato. He gritted his teeth and said, Naruto, Naruto said, you can't beat me. Tobirama seemed to kick Naruto, but what Naruto said was also true, he really couldn't beat him. He couldn't beat him from very early on. This is helpless. Naruto continued to talk without thinking. That. You have never had a girlfriend. I'm thinking, are you interested in your sister-in-law? I'm not saying that casually. You're different from others when you talk to your sister-in-law. Tobirama kicked Naruto. Naruto's body blurred and easily dodged. This is similar to the ability of Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan. This ability was developed by Naruto himself after Ikiden swallowed Obito's Kamui dimension and nurtured the inner space. Are you angry out of humiliation? In fact, there is nothing to be embarrassed about. I guess, you may be in a love triangle, but unfortunately, you are eliminated. Tobirama was angry. Don't talk nonsense. I just respect my brother and sister-in-law. Respect? Naruto shrugged. Okay. I have asked your brother and sister-in-law if she wants to resurrect, and she agreed very simply. Are you sure you don't want to stay and protect your sister-in-law? Tobirama was very decisive. I and my brother and sister-in-law are innocent. Naruto stared at Tobirama for a long time and smiled. I'm joking with you, why are you so serious? I'm going to accompany my old mother and wife. Why don't you stay here and enjoy the breeze? Chapter 642. Yondaime Naruto and his wife were resurrected. This news was quickly spread because Naruto didn't cover it up. Then the rumor that the Yondaime couple was reincarnated by the Edo Tensei spread all over the city. There was also the fact that the Edo Tensei was an evil technique, and the sacrifice of living people was also revealed. For a while, the people were quite dissatisfied with Naruto. None of this matters. The important thing is, under Naruto's continuous investigation, the ones who spread this news turned out to be toads. The toads of Mount Mayaboku. They became people and lived in small towns in the countryside. This reminded Naruto of when Otsutsuki Kagaya was alive. Something similar seemed to have happened. The sealed space of Jubi. Naruto chatted with Otsutsuki Kagaya as usual. Toads are on your feet, don't you think it's disgusting? Otsutsuki Kagaya ignored Naruto. She closed her eyes and slept. Naruto continued, they also instigated your two sons like this. Don't you want to take revenge on them? Otsutsuki Kagaya opened her eyes and glanced at Naruto. What do you want to do? Naruto replied, you must know where Mount Mayaboku is, right? Tell me, I'll catch a few toads and eat their thighs. Otsutsuki Kagaya said very irresponsibly, I forgot. Naruto was helpless. When Naruto's consciousness was about to withdraw from the sealed space, Otsutsuki Kagaya said, you haven't really integrated with my power yet. After opening the seal and completely integrating with me, you can find Mount Mayaboku. Do I have to do this? Naruto thought about it seriously and replied, it's troublesome, let them jump around for another month. After I get married, I'll take care of those toads. Otsutsuki Kagaya closed her eyes again, holding the side of her face with her right hand, and lowered her head as if she was asleep. Toads are causing trouble. So, is it possible that it's Jiraiya? The possibility is almost zero. Because the Yondaime couple had seen Jiraiya before. Jiraiya knew very well that the Yondaime couple was truly resurrected, not reincarnated in the Edo Tensei. This kind of lie, with Jiraiya's pride, disdains to do. Then, what was the toad of Mount Mayaboku trying to do? Do you know? Emperor Ming used sorcery to revive his dead parents. It's said that the evil technique is called Edo reincarnation. In order to activate that technique, a living person has to be sacrificed. In front of Naruto, a toad was explaining the Edo Tensei with spittle flying everywhere. Naruto was not in a hurry. He sat in the tea house, ordered a pot of tea, and listened quietly. After the toad finished speaking, Naruto said, "You're wrong. The Edo Tensei can't be considered a true resurrection. It's just summoning the consciousness of the dead back to the human world. Emperor Ming is using a technique that can truly revive the dead. That's an ability that only the Eye of Reincarnation has." The Eye of Reincarnation is also called the Eye of Rikudo Sennin. It can be said that it's the power left behind by Rikudo Sennin. Emperor Ming can use this power. Obviously, Rikudo Sennin approved it. The toad was stunned. Flustered and exasperated, he said, "Nonsense." Naruto said calmly, "How am I talking nonsense? I have some gossip. On the day of Emperor Ming's wedding, the Yondaime couple will attend Emperor Ming's wedding. At that time, whether they are truly resurrected or not, people with discerning eyes will know at a glance. Because people who are reincarnated in the Edo Tensei have an unconcealable death aura. Also, according to my guess, the reason why the Yondaime couple will be resurrected. It's very likely that they were specially allowed by Kami to come back to attend Emperor Ming's wedding. Look, on the day of Emperor Ming's ascension, didn't Kami give Emperor Ming a city? What is this called? This is a mandate from God." The little toad still wanted to argue with Naruto, but the people around all stood on Naruto's side. After all, everyone saw the miracle on the mirage that day. If the mirage was fake, then Emperor Ming's invitation couldn't be fake, right? That was an invitation that everyone had received. Moreover, many people said that they saw the city. Hence, the reason of Kami's reward was reliable and tenable. In the end, the little toad left in anger. On the same day, the Mingdu Empire issued an official statement. They announced that Kami had blessed them, that Rikudo Sennin had appeared to resurrect the Yondaime couple, and that the Yondaime couple would be allowed to attend Naruto's wedding. The toad's public opinion was completely destroyed by Naruto's Six Paths theism. "Oh Rikudo Sennin," Naruto said that you helped him resurrect his parents. Otsutsuki Tonari was eating the tri-colored meatballs he just bought from the shop while mocking Rikudo Sennin. "Also, you didn't release those toads, right? Completely defeated. The funniest thing is that I lost in your name." A circular mark appeared on Otsutsuki Tonari's hand. This was the Yang escape mark of the Yin-Yang escape. A spiritual connection was established. Otsutsuki Tonari was pulled into the spiritual world of Rikudo Sennin. "Rikudo Sennin, this matter has nothing to do with me." Otsutsuki Tonari was surprised. "You took the initiative to find me this time just to reply to me? I'm really flattered." Rikudo Sennin held his staff and floated above the water and replied, "I'm not looking for you today to explain toads to you. I want to remind you that my time in this world is not infinite. I hope you can make up your mind to reseal the Jubi as soon as possible. In addition, I found a candidate for the other half of the mark. You just need to use the Yang attribute mark to cooperate with him." Otsutsuki Tonari raised his hand. In the spiritual world, there was no need to see with the naked eye. He stared at the Yang attribute mark on his hand. He said, "I don't need your gift to defeat that person easily." Rikudo Sennin replied, "If it's just the fallen Naruto, you can naturally defeat him with the power of Tensigen. But you have to deal with Otsutsuki Kagaya. Although I don't know why Mother hasn't occupied that body, as long as she wants, that kind of thing can be done at will." Otsutsuki Tonari continued to look at the mark on his hand. "Who is the other person?" Rikudo Sennin replied, "A person born for righteousness." Otsutsuki Tonari frowned. He asked again, "Is it the Uchiha clan that your son created? You helped him open the Rinnegan? You are really a great elder." Rikudo Sennin's figure faded. "You will know after you open the Tensigen." Rikudo Sennin disappeared. Otsutsuki Tonari rubbed his hand in disgust. But the mark of Yin-Yang release is not an oil pen of a naughty child, it can't be rubbed off. In the end, he could only sigh, "I'm fulfilling the mission of Otsutsuki Hamura-sama. Why do you always come out and tell me what to do? Do you think you're Sien? Can you leave your thoughts behind even after you die?" Sigh. Why didn't my ancestor leave his thoughts behind? My poor ancestor. However, it's good that he didn't leave his thoughts behind. Otherwise, wouldn't I be annoyed to death with 2 flies buzzing in my ears? Chapter 643. Cicadas were being roasted under the red sun. Life, life, he shouted. Mingdu Empire. Imperial Garden. It was snowing, and it was exceptionally cool. The snowflakes drifted down, absorbing the summer heat, and then disappeared before falling to the ground. It was very dreamy. Mom, you and Dad are still so young, don't you plan to have another child? Uzumaki Kushina was sitting on a swing, and Naruto was pushing it from behind. This was Hinata's favorite entertainment, but after she was resurrected, she dominated it. Uzumaki Kushina was enjoying her son's service while pondering. She asked, "Do you really want a younger brother, or are you afraid that another one will compete with you?" Naruto gently pushed the swing and replied, "If I really want a younger brother, having a younger brother at home would be lively." Uzumaki Kushina thought for a moment. She confirmed again, "Do you really think so?" Naruto replied with certainty, "Yes." Uzumaki Kushina nodded. "Well, I'll talk to your dad later, and then ask for another little thing." She agreed. That's going well. Naruto was relieved. When Uzumaki Kushina is pregnant, he will separate Naruto from his body and let their family reunite. But Uzumaki Kushina suddenly hesitated. "Rather than having another son, I'd rather have a grandson. Naruto, you and Hinata have to work hard." Naruto was embarrassed and scratched his head. You're not married yet, isn't it too early to have a child?" Uzumaki Kushina continued, "You're getting married next month, why aren't you in a hurry?" At this time, Naruto received a report from She-Wolf. "Master, Kakashi Hatake and Kazuma Hanazuki have registered their marriage. They just registered their marriage, and it seems that they don't intend to hold a wedding." Registered their marriage secretly? Not holding a wedding? The two of them were really open-minded. Naruto passed the news to Obito. "Obito, your best friend has registered his marriage, but he doesn't plan to hold a wedding." Obito was even more excited than Naruto. "No wedding? I'm still waiting for this day to shine. What's going on in that guy's head?" Kakashi didn't know that Obito was still alive. Obito originally planned to give Kakashi a surprise at his wedding. Therefore, the current situation was a little awkward. No. Which girl didn't have a wedding before getting married? This year, when 2 dogs mate, they have to hold a ceremony. It's already hard enough for such a good girl to be with Kakashi. They can't not even have a wedding ceremony. Obito was very excited. Naruto was a little stunned. Were dogs so particular these days? "Naruto, let's call the others and hold a wedding for that guy." Naruto was stunned. "How are you going to force it?" Obito whispered, "What do you say, let's set up the wedding ceremony, and then, kidnap that guy." "Kidnapping for marriage? Hiss. Sounds like a good idea. But there's one thing we have to pay attention to." Metke asked, "Did you save her?" Naruto was very honest and corrected, "No, to be precise, I captured her." "Well, don't ask too much. You'll see that girl in a while. You can ask her yourself." Naruto put Metke into the inner world of preserved egg. Then, he contacted Jiraiya and said, "We're going to hold a wedding for Kakashi. Do you want to participate?" Jiraiya knew that Kakashi was not dead after the founding of Mingdu. "Kakashi's wedding?" Naruto replied, "Well, I received news that guy just got a marriage certificate. But it seems that he doesn't intend to hold a wedding, so I'm going to give him a surprise as his student." Jiraiya hesitated and sighed. "Count me in. It's boring to stay here all the time." Jiraiya finished contacting him. Next was Sasuke. But Sasuke was not online. His avatar was gray. Where did that guy go? Naruto contacted Sakura Haruno again. "Where's Sasuke?" Sakura Haruno was surprised. "He's not with you?" Naruto wondered, Why, he said he's here? Is this guy having an affair and using me as a cover? Sakura, you have to be careful. Sakura Haruno did not doubt this, but said very seriously, Naruto, I suddenly have a bad feeling. Something is going to happen to Sasuke. Naruto's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 644. Sasuke is missing. The moment Sakura said that she had a bad premonition, Naruto felt a chill in his heart. He also had the same feeling. What can happen? You should dress up and get ready to attend Kakashi-sensei's wedding. Leave it to me to contact Sasuke. Hanging up, Naruto brought up the system panel. Ninja Beast Statistics Panel. It recorded all the ninja beasts bred by the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. Search. Category filtering. Dragon Eagle. Nickname. Chirp. This was the one that cooperated with Sasuke to use the ghost germ technique. The Dragon Eagle was still there. Naruto was relieved. Summoning Chirp. System prompt. Summoning request. System prompt. Request accepted. A circle of light appeared in front of Naruto, and then the circle turned into a cylinder. With a bang, the Dragon Eagle appeared in front of Naruto. The Dragon Eagle was injured. And it was seriously injured. A large piece of meat was missing from its right wing. Bones were exposed. Chirp. Chirp lowered its proud head and rubbed Naruto very affectionately. Naruto directly connected with Chirp. He pulled Chirp into the spiritual world. Although Chirp was intelligent, it couldn't speak human language. Spiritual connection was more convenient. What happened? What's the matter with your injury? Chirp replied, it was Sasuke's brother, Uchiha Itachi, who hurt me. Uchiha Itachi. The bad premonition was even stronger. Why did he do that? Chirp shook its head. I don't know. Uchiha Itachi also dug out Sasuke's eyes. Then he ran away. Uchiha Itachi dug out Sasuke's eyes. Uchiha digging out eyes can't be a good thing. It's nothing more than awakening the Manjikyu Sharingan. Chirp's meat. Chirp's body is fused with Hashirama's cells. Is this a coincidence? No, it's not a coincidence. Itachi didn't understand the characteristics of Kairu's meat, but Hagoromo could definitely feel it. As for not being able to awaken Rinnegan without the reincarnation of Indra, with the help of the Sage of Six Paths, there was no need for the reincarnation of Indra. Where is Sasuke now? Chocho replied, to the north of the snow country, in the endless snowy plains. Naruto nodded and pressed his hand on Chocho's body. Young escape. Life infusion. The large piece of flesh missing from Chirp's wings wriggled and began to heal at a speed visible to the naked eye. Alright, you can go back. Leave Sasuke to me. After sending Chocho off, Naruto picked up the Yondaime couple and then teleported to the snow country with Obito. Prepare for Kakashi's wedding first. I have something to do. I'll be back soon. Metke, Jiraiya, and the Yondaime couple were all released. Everyone gathered together in full swing. Naruto disappeared in the blink of an eye. Teleportation. When he reappeared, he was already 10 miles away, north of the snow country, in the direction of the endless snowy plains. Naruto stood in the air with his eyes closed. The snow in the sky was getting heavier. Snowflakes fluttered everywhere, constantly spreading, covering the sky and earth. Naruto's consciousness merged into the ice and snow. It didn't take long for him to find Sasuke lying on the snow with his eyes gouged out. Naruto could feel Sasuke's aura. Sasuke didn't die, but there was no greater sorrow than despair, and it didn't seem to be much different from death. Naruto raised his hand. A huge hand made of ice and snow appeared under Sasuke's body out of thin air. He grabbed the air. Space ninjutsu was launched. Sasuke was brought in front of Naruto in the next moment. Naruto put his hand on Sasuke's body. Sasuke's body was very cold, and if this continues, he won't be far from freezing to death. You're so young, are you tired of living? Naruto muttered. Young release. life infusion. The frost on Sasuke's face melted in an instant, and his pale skin quickly became ruddy. Sasuke's consciousness woke up. Naruto. Naruto replied, "If you want to die, you have to ask me first. If I don't let you die, you can't die even if you want to." Sasuke was silent. Naruto asked, "Are you going to put a pair of Sharingan on your eyes, or use Yin-Yang release to make you an ordinary one?" "Don't think about the original Sharingan, my Yin-Yang release is not that good." Sasuke continued to be silent. Naruto answered his own question, "You don't look like you like Sharingan, then I'll make you an ordinary one." Naruto's hand pressed on Sasuke's face. Yin-Yang release. True creation regeneration. Bright red blood flowed out of Sasuke's eyes. The shriveled bird's nest bulged again. "Come on, open your eyes and see what this is." Sasuke didn't open his eyes. Naruto opened Sasuke's eyelids with his fingers. "What is this?" Naruto's hand waved in front of Sasuke's eyes. Sasuke's pupils contracted normally. "Well, if you don't answer, it seems to be a success." Naruto loosened Sasuke's eyelids. Sasuke didn't continue to close his eyes. He stared blankly ahead, his eyes filled with confusion. Naruto leaned back, ice and snow rose from the ground and turned into a chair for Naruto to sit. At the same time, Naruto gave Sasuke one, but Sasuke's chair wasn't made of ice, it was made of wood with green leaves. "You met the Sage of the Six Paths, right?" Naruto's question finally made Sasuke react. He looked at Naruto. Naruto continued, "He asked you to seal me, right? Then, you refused." "Don't look at me so surprised, I don't know what happened, most of it was a guess." "Of course, it was a reasonable guess. After all, I also met that old guy. He asked me to give up the power of the Ten Tails, I didn't trick him." "Then, he must have been angry." Sigh, people get more confused as they get older. Sasuke continued to look at Naruto in surprise. Naruto looked at the east hopefully, it seemed a little unnatural. Then he looked at Sasuke. Silence. Thank you for your trust in me. I'm also very sorry. If I'm not wrong, that old guy found your brother after he was defeated by you. And your brother, he made a different choice from you, he took your eyes. He opened the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Then, he dug out Cho Chow's flesh and took Hashirama's cells. It should be to awaken the Rinnegan. Sasuke finally spoke. His voice was low and terrifying, the numbness on his face disappeared, replaced by a cold chill. You mean, it's all because of that Sage of the Six Paths? Naruto nodded affirmatively, 100%. There's no one else except him. Sasuke gritted his teeth and said, "He took my brother away. I want him dead." Naruto shrugged and couldn't help but complain, he died hundreds or even thousands of years ago. Sasuke continued, "Then I want him dead." Naruto still wanted to say something, but Sasuke's eyes suddenly changed. It's Scarlet 3 Tomo Sharingan. Oh my god. The strong negative emotions made Sasuke open his eyes again. What's more surprising is that his Yin-Yang release is really created in the art of life. The eyes that he repaired are not ordinary eyes. The miracle continues, after the 3 Tomo Sharingan, it's the Mangekyo Sharingan. But the pattern is completely different from the previous Mangekyo Sharingan. If his guess is correct, the abilities are absolutely different. Naruto suddenly became interested. Sasuke, do you desire power? You need to understand Hashirama's cells. I feel that you fused with that thing, the probability of awakening the Rinnegan is very high. Chapter 645. First Generation Cells? Sasuke looked at Naruto in confusion. Naruto revealed 2 rows of big front teeth and explained with a smile, "Yes, first generation cells. Since Hagoromo Sennin has looked for you, then you should already know that you are his son in the past, the reincarnation of Indra, right?" Then he pointed to himself and said, "And I am the reincarnation of Azura. Speaking of which, we are really ill-fated." I really can't imagine what kind of scene it will be when I call you brother. Sasuke's face was numb. Naruto scratched his head awkwardly. Well, let's talk about the two sons of Hagoromo Sennin. The eldest son, Indra, inherited Hagoromo Sennin's sage pupil, which is Sharingan. You didn't hear wrong, Sharingan is the weakened version of Rinnegan due to bloodline dilution. The second son, Azura, inherited Hagoromo Sennin's sage body. Sasuke thought for a moment and guessed a possibility. He directly interrupted Naruto's long speech and answered, "You mean that the combination of Azura's power and Indra's power can make Sharingan evolve into Rinnegan?" Naruto nodded with a look of relief. He corrected, "However, not everyone can make Rinnegan evolve, and you happen to meet the requirements, the reincarnation of Hagoromo Sennin." Naruto pointed his hands at Sasuke and poked back and forth. "Yes. It's you. Are you very excited?" However, Sasuke was not happy, but his face was gloomy. He stared fiercely at Naruto and said, "Is this accurate?" Naruto gave a thumbs up and said, "Super accurate. Because my Rinnegan was awakened in this way." Sasuke's face was even gloomier. He lowered his head and said with a dry voice, "You bastard, you already knew, right? Why didn't you tell me in advance? If I had awakened Rinnegan earlier, Itachi, that bastard, couldn't have taken my eyes away." Naruto was stumped. He smiled awkwardly and scratched the back of his head awkwardly. He explained, This. Isn't it because we didn't have any first-generation cells before?" Sasuke stared at Naruto. He didn't believe this excuse at all. His eyelids twitched in anger. If there was a reason why she hadn't told him before, perhaps it was because he didn't trust him, or perhaps he was afraid that he would surpass him. No matter which one it was, they all pointed to one thing. As expected, he still hated this guy. Transplant. Sasuke gritted his teeth and squeezed the words out of his mouth. Naruto nodded repeatedly. "Okay, last time when I killed that extinction fellow, I got quite a few first-generation cells." System notification, Hinata requests a video call. Why was his wife looking for him? Oh right. Kakashi's wedding. Naruto clicked on the video call and Hinata's image came into view. "Naruto-kun, have you found Sasuke-kun?" Asking Sasuke? She should have heard the news from Sakura. Speaking of which, Sakura's intuition was quite sharp. Could this be the power of true love? "Ah, I found him. Tell Sakura not to worry, I'll bring her boyfriend back soon." Hearing that Sasuke was fine, the worry between Hinata's eyebrows disappeared. He happily said, "Okay, I'll tell her now. By the way, Kakashi-sensei's wedding is ready. You have to come back soon." "Okay." "Huh. Hinata, there seems to be something on your face." Naruto pointed at Hinata's face. Hinata hurriedly wiped it. "No, it's here." "Hinata, you've tested your face." When Hinata turned her face, Naruto suddenly leaned forward. When Naruto leaned forward, Hinata's image in front of Naruto also leaned forward. Then, Naruto kissed her. Hinata's face suddenly turned red. She shyly hung up the call. Naruto laughed wantonly. He laughed very proudly. When Hinata disappeared, Naruto saw Sasuke's half-painted face, and his laughter stopped. Your girlfriend is worried about you, so she asked my wife about your situation." Sasuke's frown deepened and he asked, "You told Sakura Haruno about me?" Naruto explained, "No, I went to look for you but you weren't there. Sakura said she had a bad feeling." "Huh? You actually didn't refute me. So you've already admitted that Sakura is your girlfriend? Oh my god. You iron lump. You've finally been conquered." Sasuke's expression didn't improve at all. He coldly replied, "I just know who you're talking about. Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and fuse with the first-generation cells." Naruto shrugged and criticized, "You should stop before going too far. With your personality, you're as smelly as a rock in the toilet. Being able to meet Sakura is already your greatest fortune. Don't take it for granted." Otherwise, if one day that girl suddenly likes someone else, you won't even be able to cry. Seeing that Sasuke's expression was about to kill someone, Naruto quickly stopped. He cleared his throat and changed the topic. There's no rush to fuse with the first-generation cells. You need to adjust your body to its best condition. Sasuke interrupted. I'm in my best condition right now. Naruto's mouth twitched. He had just been rubbed in the snow, and the snow in his pocket hadn't even melted yet. His best condition? There should be a limit to trying to be brave. Even if you're in your best condition, I still need to prepare. Sasuke simply said, How long? Naruto casually said, Tomorrow at the latest. Alright, there's something you don't know. Kakashi's wedding is today. Go back and attend the wedding first. You have to experience Kakashi's wedding. If it wasn't to inform you that Kakashi is getting married, you might have frozen to death here. I'll bring you back to take a shower and change your clothes first. Naruto raised his hand and pressed on Sasuke's shoulder. The next moment, Sasuke was sucked into Preserved Egg's inner world. Preserved Egg's inner world underwent earth-shaking changes every day after Naruto became the ten-tailed beast's human pillar force. It had changed from a lush slope to a fertile land with mountains and rivers. Naruto believed that it would not be long before the trees would grow. Snow Country. Jiraiya met Tsunade. The two of them chatted as if they were very familiar with each other. They talked about the weather and the ice and snow here. Then, they fell into silence again. That Kato, he was also resurrected, right? Jiraiya lowered his head and played with his fingers. Tsunade was silent for a moment. Suddenly she asked, Do you want him to be resurrected? Jiraiya looked at Tsunade. What should he answer at this time? To be honest, he didn't want Tsunade to resurrect Kato. But does it really matter what he thinks? No matter what the princess in front of him did, she didn't ask for his opinion. She didn't do it when she resurrected Kato. She didn't do it when he left Woodleaf. The most excessive thing was that she took his bankbook. What's even more excessive was that she didn't spend it and returned it all. I want you to resurrect him. Tsunade was taken aback, lowered her head, and muttered to herself, I see, Jiraiya continued. If he's alive, I can have a fair competition with him, Tsunade. I like you. Suddenly, Tsunade felt that her heartstrings were moved for the first time by this lecture in front of her. Jiraiya, you. Chapter 646. Jiraiya confessed his love to her. And not when he was drunk. Since when did this guy become so bold? Is it that people get thicker as they get older? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya blankly and didn't know how to react for a while. To be honest, she was a little bit moved. That day when she learned that the Yondaime-sama couple was resurrected by Naruto, she went to Naruto. Naruto didn't refuse, but she suddenly hesitated. For some reason, she suddenly remembered the day when Jiraiya was drunk and handed her his bankbook. At that time, Jiraiya was silly, stupid, and cute. She didn't even need to use her fingers to take away all the money that she had painstakingly accumulated for decades. Doesn't this guy know that she likes to gamble? Isn't this guy afraid that she will lose all of his money? He just gave it to her. She also planned to gamble all of this fool's money. But every time she walked past the bank, she always forgot to withdraw money. She could only say that this guy was lucky. You want to chase me? Tsunade bent down and put her hands together. Her graceful body was full of temptation. Jiraiya also threw caution to the wind and said very manly, Yes. Tsunade's mouth curled up, and she looked up and down at Jiraiya. But, where did you get the confidence? If Kato is resurrected, he will be a little fresh meat. You are already a piece of old bacon. Little fresh meat, old bacon? Jiraiya wasn't a resident of the Snow Country, and he didn't receive Naruto's cultural influence. For a while, he didn't understand the meaning of these two words. He replied completely with his own understanding, Bacon is good, it has taste. Tsunade was amused with a biffed. Okay, but I don't like men who often go in and out of taverns with color. Jiraiya replied, I won't go again in the future. Tsunade raised an eyebrow, I also don't like men who peek at women's bathrooms. Jiraiya replied again, I promise I won't look. Tsunade leaned close to Jiraiya and breathed in his ear, I like to gamble, and I won't change. Feeling Tsunade's breath, Jiraiya's face was a little red, as if he was drunk. He replied, I'll make money for you to gamble. Tsunade looked indifferent on the surface, but her heart was beating fast. She was attracted to Jiraiya. Tsunade raised her body, suppressed the panic in her heart, and said seriously, Do you really want me to resurrect Broken? Jiraiya nodded. Tsunade smiled. Okay, after little Kakashi's wedding is over, I'll go find Naruto and ask him to revive it. Jiraiya nodded again. After that, the two of them walked back to the house from the rooftop. Back at Kakashi's wedding. The wedding venue had been set up, but the bride had been kidnapped before the groom arrived. On the stage, Hinata and Tion were explaining to Hana Fujita. Haini Kazama listened with a dumbfounded expression. Then, she was dragged into the changing room with a dumbfounded expression. Looks like it's about to start. Tsunade watched the bride being pulled into the dressing room. Jiraiya replied, How will we hold our wedding in the future? Ours? Did I agree? Tsunade looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya seemed to be even more shameless. He licked his lips and said, How about we all listen to you? You can hold it however you want. Tsunade was speechless. Inhale, exhale. Tsunade suddenly had an idea in her mind. If an author wanted to be flirtatious, he could really be flirtatious. At the same time, Kakashi, who had gone out to buy groceries, returned home. I'm back. However, there was no response. Kakashi took off his shoes and put them away. He was confused. Was Hana asleep? That couldn't be, right? He carried the groceries into the kitchen. Kakashi was preparing to cook, but he still wanted to take a look at Hana Fujita. Otherwise, there would always be a sense of unease. He opened the bedroom door. Hana Fujita wasn't there. She wasn't in the living room either. Upstairs. She wasn't there either. Where was she? Kakashi finally became nervous. He narrowed his eyes and observed the details in the room. The window. There were signs that the window had been forcefully opened. Someone had snuck into his room. Kakashi couldn't hold back anymore. He activated his Sharingan. For a moment, the small details that couldn't be noticed by the naked eye were magnified infinitely. He followed the traces left behind by the intruder and found a note. There were only 3 sentences on the note. Your wife is already in my hands. If you don't want both of us to die, wear the clothes I prepared for you and go to XXXX alone. Pay attention, wear the clothes as they are. If you try to be smart, don't even think about seeing your delicate wife or your unborn son again. Also, I won't tell you how much time you have left, but if you miss it, you will have to collect the corpse. Woodleaf's lonely soul. Woodleaf? Kakashi's heart suddenly skipped a beat. These 2 words were too glaring. Kakashi took a deep breath and opened the box under the note as quickly as possible. There was a suit and shoes in the box. The suit was heavy. Very heavy. Kakashi couldn't pick it up with one hand. With only 2 hands, he had to use the strength of his waist and his legs to lift it up. There was something wrong with this suit. He opened the suit. Sure enough, there was something similar to a heavy armor inside. It was covered with explosive talismans. The pants were the same. The shoes didn't have explosive talismans, but they were also super heavy. Kakashi looked at the note again. Pay attention, wear the clothes as they are. If you try to be smart, don't even think about seeing your delicate wife or your unborn son again. Also, I won't tell you how much time you have left, but if you miss it, you will have to collect the corpse. Kakashi clenched his fist. Gritting his teeth, he put on the clothes. Ever since he came to Snow Country, he rarely cultivated. It was difficult to put on these clothes. After putting them on, he was sweating like rain. Then he continued to put on the pants and shoes. When he finished putting on the clothes, he was on the verge of collapse. Hashimon Tonku. First gate. Open. Kakashi's veins were bulging, but his swaying body finally stabilized. Then he rushed to the designated location. Should he tell Naruto? Kakashi was thinking as he hurried along. But the other party left him alone. If Hwayu was hurt because of the breach of the contract, what should he do? What would he do if it was the past? If it was Naruto's transformation? Thinking of Naruto, he thought of the signature on the note. Wood Leaf's lonely soul. Was it the Wood Leaf's people who came looking for him? Were they coming to take revenge on him, the failed Naruto? If that was the case, then as long as he didn't hurt Hwayu, what was wrong with taking his life? With that in mind, Kakashi began to run with all his might. His footsteps were heavy. Even if he spread out chakra, the ground would still rumble. He had arrived. Was this the house? Kakashi arrived at the designated location on the note. Then he rushed in. There was no light in the room. Even at night, it was impossible. He could only say that he had fallen into an illusion. Kakashi roared, "I'm coming. Release Hwayu. My life is at your disposal." Chapter 647. Asterisk Creek. Asterisk Kakashi stepped into the room, and the heavy wooden door slowly closed with a long creak. Finally, the door slammed together with a loud bang. Everything was silent. Let go of Kazumi. You can do whatever you want with me. The venue was large, and there were very few people attending the wedding, so the room was especially empty. Kakashi's voice even echoed. You can do whatever you want with me. You can do whatever you want with me. Silence. After about 10 seconds, someone finally spoke. The voice was dull and hoarse, and it was impossible to tell who was speaking. Kakashi, you want to use your life in exchange for Kazumi's life? Kakashi looked in the direction of the voice. He still couldn't see with his eyes, so he could only listen to the voice. I'm willing. As long as you don't hurt Kazumi, I'm willing to do anything. Silence again. In the quiet room, one could even hear the sound of the clock pendulum outside the building. Asterisk tick-tock. Tick-tock. Asterisk there was also the faint sound of gears grinding. Finally, the tense atmosphere made Kakashi hear the sound of his own heart beating. Then, the hoarse and low voice finally spoke again. Whether rich or poor, sick or healthy, young or old, are you willing? Are you willing to protect her, comfort her, and accompany her for the rest of her life, never leaving her? Kakashi was dumbfounded. At this moment, with a loud bang, the lights turned on. The Manjikyu Sharingan's blinding illusion was dispelled. In Kakashi's eyes, light shone from the top of the stage, making a girl in a snow-white wedding dress seem like an angel descending to the mortal world. And that girl was his wife, Kazumi. Kakashi, I'm sorry. Kazumi looked at Kakashi helplessly, and there was even a trace of pity in her eyes. At this time, Kakashi's head was covered in sweat, and he couldn't be more embarrassed. His wedding suit was completely soaked. Kakashi finally breathed a sigh of relief when he saw that Kazumi was fine. Looking next to Kazumi, there was CE holding a microphone with a smug expression. She looked very familiar. My T.K. Kakashi's eyes widened. Metke let out a strange cry. Aren't you surprised? Are you surprised? In the auditorium, Naruto stared blankly at Kakashi's cumbersome ceremonial robe. Under the perception barrier, the internal structure of Kakashi's ceremonial robe was quite clear. Wait. This dress is really unique. The corner of Sasuke's mouth twitched. Why are you so surprised? It wasn't you? Naruto rolled his eyes and explained, How could it be me? This is obviously Metkai's handiwork. On the stage, Metkai said proudly, Don't just stand there. Hurry up and tell me if you agree or not. If you don't, I'll kill her. Kakashi's mouth opened and closed like a helpless little cop that had been scooped up. I'm willing. After all, Kakashi was not stupid. He quickly thought of the most reasonable explanation. This was not a kidnapping. It was a wedding. Metkei nodded in satisfaction. He urged, "Then why are you still standing there like a fool? Hurry up and finish the ceremony. By the way, your ceremonial robe was specially prepared for you by me. It contains my most sincere blessings." Kakashi's legs trembled. He took a deep breath and walked towards Metkei. Metkei smiled and turned to Hanatsuki. "Whether rich or poor, in sickness or in health, in prosperity or in adversity, are you willing to respect him, support him, and accompany him for the rest of your life and never leave him?" Everyone focused on Hanatsuki's face. As for Haini Fujisan, she looked at Kakashi lovingly. "I'm willing." What happened next was more normal. Under the applause and cheers, the wedding was a complete success. After the ceremony, the indecent C leaned over to Kakashi's ear and whispered, "Seeing that you're wearing the ceremonial robe filled with blessings that I prepared for you, I won't lower myself to your level. You're really lucky. The other families are still squatting in the side accounts, but you're quietly marrying a rich and beautiful girl outside." Although his words were filled with resentment, it was clear that Metkei only had blessings filled with jealousy for Kakashi. Yes, he was filled with jealousy, and it was the undisguised kind. Metkei interrupted. "Let's not talk about other things today. Today is your wedding. By the way, there are 3 special guests today." With that, Metkei pointed below the stage. Because the stage lights were too bright, Kakashi did not notice the people below. How was that possible? Today, Obito was wearing a handsome suit. Although half of his face was disfigured, the other half was still brimming with a heartfelt smile. When Kakashi saw Obito, Obito's smile was even more brilliant. Obito pointed to the side. The 4th-generation couple came into view. Everyone in the Mingdu Empire knew about the resurrection of the 4th-generation Naruto, but the Snow Country had not released the news yet. The big reason was to give Kakashi a surprise. "Minato-sensei." "You?" Kakashi rushed over excitedly. Kakashi's first reaction was that the person in front of him was Naruto's Edo Tensei. But when he took a closer look, there was a qualitative difference between the living and the dead, whether it was in the aura or the degree of vitality. These were all living people. How could you?" Obito replied. "Sorry, in fact, I'm not dead, but I can't show up for special reasons. Minato-sensei and the others are more legendary. They were resurrected by Naruto with Rinnegan." Namake's Minato raised his hand and patted Kakashi on the shoulder. "You've done a good job. I'm very happy to hear that you're Naruto." Kakashi suddenly felt lost when he heard this. He was very aggrieved, and he was about to cry. But Woodleaf was buried in my hands. I didn't do a good job as Naruto. Uzumaki Kushina also patted Kakashi on the shoulder and said, "Woodleaf's matter is not your fault." "Who told you to meet my son?" This sentence was very arrogant. Naruto cleared his throat and changed the topic. "Today is a happy day. Why are you talking about this?" "Come on. Let the groom lie down." Naruto's words were echoed by everyone. Once again, there were Tion, Hinata, Sakura Haruno, Sasuke, Jiraiya, Tsunade, and a group of graduate students from the Great Snow Mountain. There were a lot of people. Cheers. Naruto put the wine glass in Kakashi's hand, ding, and then drank it boldly. Kakashi also drank it. Then, everyone lined up and the wheels of the cart started to turn. Until Kakashi staggered and fell to the ground. But this was not the end. Metkei took off Kakashi's heavy suit and continued to toast. Today, for Kakashi, was bound to be a day of drinking. Chapter 648. Kakashi's wedding went smoothly. He came in vertically and went out horizontally. It could be said that he was not going home until he was drunk. The next day, Sasuke was transplanted with the 1st-generation cells. The location was not the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute, but the ice field to the north of the Snow Country. This way, he could avoid affecting others. After all, the movement of the 1st-generation cells was not small. I'm telling you in advance. The process of fusing with the first-generation cells is quite brutal. If I have to describe it, it's like a chakra bomb exploding in the body. So, you'd better be mentally prepared. Naruto took a fist-sized ball of flesh from the first-generation cells and gestured on Sasuke's body. He asked casually, "Where do you think it's best to suture this piece of flesh?" Sasuke looked at the ball of flesh and replied, "Up to you." Naruto walked around Sasuke and gestured to put it on Sasuke's back. "This place is not bad." Chakra's scalpel moved and cut Sasuke's clothes from top to bottom. Sasuke only felt a chill. Then, a ball of flesh was pressed on. A sense of expansion followed. The ball of flesh fused into Sasuke's back. Rolling flesh spread out. Then, it gradually bulged and formed an angular human face. The first generation's Naruto held Hashirama's face. "Hold it in. The show has just begun," Naruto shouted. His spiritual power rushed into the first-generation cells and swept away the spiritual power left by the first-generation's Naruto in the cells. When the will was washed away, the powerful vitality contained in the first-generation cells also lost its restraint. For a moment, it was like a wild horse that was free of its reins. It ran wild in Sasuke's body. The muscles on Sasuke's back began to expand exaggeratedly. It was as if a pair of flesh wings had opened. Then, with a creak, the muscles contracted. Under the sudden contraction of the muscles, Sasuke's original bones couldn't bear the burden and were directly broken. Sasuke was originally holding on, but the pain of his broken bones still made him groan. Naruto reminded him from the side, "Just hold on. Broken bones will grow back. Don't worry. Because of the increase in vitality, the bones will stubbornly grow according to the genetic sequence. They won't grow crooked." Sasuke's face was covered with beads of sweat the size of soybeans. The pain of broken bones, the itchiness of growing bones, and the soreness of swollen muscles. All kinds of feelings were intertwined, and it was really maddening. In the end, Sasuke still roared. He punched the ground. The layer of ice in this extremely cold place was even harder than rock. This time, Sasuke's hand was directly fractured. Sasuke curled up on the ground in pain. Steam rose from his body like boiling water. Naruto found a good angle and recorded the scene clearly. The wailing continued for an entire day and night. The fiery red sun set in the west, and the next day rose from the east. There was a huge ice pit where Sasuke was. He was lying at the bottom of the pit, and only the water vapor rose slowly with a sizzling sound. After a while, he suddenly opened his eyes. "It's the Rinnegan. A pair of Sharingan without Rinnegan. This is somewhat different from the development of the original world. But it also makes sense. After all, this pair of eyes was obtained by Sasuke's own efforts by fusing with Shodai cells, not a gift from the Rikudo Sennin. It's really awakened." Naruto stared at Sasuke's eyes. At this moment, he suddenly had a bold idea in his heart. "Hey, Sasuke, I have an idea, do you want to hear it?" Sasuke's eyes turned to look at Naruto. The two pairs of Rinnegan looked at each other. But the difference is that Naruto's Rinnegan is a pair of red 9 Tomo Rinnegan Sharingan, while Sasuke's are purple, without Tomo, pure Rinnegan. It's very similar to Uchiha Madara's original pair. "What's your idea?" "You never have a good idea. Compared to your idea, I want to fight with you more now." Sasuke stared at Naruto seriously, looking for flaws in Naruto's body, ready to launch an attack. But the strange thing is that Naruto is standing there very casually, and it seems that there are many flaws. But as long as he is ready to attack, he will have a bad feeling, and that flaw will disappear. This feeling is very contradictory. It's very uncomfortable. This is definitely a very good idea. I promise. I thought of a good way to get rich. My idea is like this. First, I will dig out your Rinnegan, and then I will treat you with yin-yang release. This way, your eyes will grow back again. Then you will lose your temper again. The Sharingan will open again. Sasuke's little face was dark as he listened. This is a good idea? This is a fart idea. It's enough to gouge out his eyes once, but Naruto wants to do it again. Seiko. Sasuke took a deep breath and found the gap in Naruto's body, and no longer hesitated. He hit Naruto with a whip kick. Wood Leaf Taijutsu, Wood Leaf Whirlwind. The speed is extremely fast. After the fusion of first Hokage cells, the strength of the body at this time is completely different. However, this attack missed. Naruto dodged the attack faster than Kuroto's whip kick and circled behind him. He continued to chatter, "Sasuke, if you want to fight, wait a while, I will talk to you first." Rinnegan. Do you know how precious this thing is? There is a good opportunity to mass-produce it. Sasuke's face was blue. His right foot twisted the ground, and his left leg hit Naruto again. This time, the speed was even faster than before, but it missed again. Under the vision of Rinnegan, Naruto leaned sideways and dodged his attack very easily. Again. A dark thunder appeared on Sasuke's body. The fusion of thunder attribute chakra and fire attribute chakra. Sasuke's speed increased again, and the dark thunder spread all over Sasuke's body. Wood Leaf. Whirlwind. An extremely fierce right whip kick. Naruto didn't dodge. The opportunity is here. Under the vision of Rinnegan, Naruto was still standing in the same place. Sasuke can no longer suppress the excitement in his heart, and his adrenaline increased. A violent blow. However, Naruto raised his hand and directly grabbed Sasuke's ankle. "Oh, don't rush to familiarize yourself with the power, listen to me, this is really a serious matter," Naruto said with a serious face. Sasuke stared at Naruto's hand. His full-strength whip kick was blocked by Naruto so casually. How big is the gap between him and Naruto? This gap can't even be made up by the first-generation cells and Rinnegan? Naruto saw Sasuke in a daze, so he waved his right hand that didn't grab Sasuke's ankle and said, "Hey! Don't run away. I'm talking to you about serious matters. Do you know how precious Rinnegan is? In this world, in addition to you and me, it may be your brother. Such a precious eye, don't you want it?" Chapter 649. Tempted? If you're tempted, why don't you dig out your own eyes? Sasuke tried to pull back his right leg. But what was embarrassing was that Naruto's hand was surprisingly strong. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't pull his leg out. In the end, he had no choice but to say, "Let go." Naruto let go, and Sasuke only felt the soles of his feet were hot. That was because his feet were grabbed by Naruto, and the blood flowed back to the soles of his feet, and his feet were hot. In terms of physical strength, he couldn't be Naruto's opponent. Then, what about illusion? Rinnegan activated. Sasuke stared at Naruto. In an instant, the ice and snow were gone, and the fire burned. Fire snakes, spitting their tongues, besieged Naruto. Naruto raised the corner of his mouth. "It seems that you can't give up until you try. Well, how about this? The winner has the final say. I won, you listen to me, dig out your eyes and cooperate with my experiment. I lost, I didn't say anything before." Naruto stood in the fire and said. Sasuke angrily said, "Wait until you win." The bright red fire snake suddenly turned black. Lightning flashed, and its speed exploded. Entanglement. Bite. The fire snakes gathered together and turned into a fire python, imprisoning Naruto, then bowed its head and swallowed him. Naruto was swallowed into the snake's stomach. Success. Sasuke stared at the snake's bulging belly seriously. At this moment, behind Sasuke, a huge, black monster appeared. The monster was more than 10 meters tall, humanoid, sheep head, with black flames in its eyes, as if it was a devil coming out of the abyss. The monster lowered its head, bit down, and swallowed Sasuke directly into its stomach. Then it chewed vigorously. Well, it's like beef jerky, chewy. Sasuke was eaten. The illusion disappeared. The black sea of fire disappeared. But was that really an illusion? The layer of ice beneath Naruto and Sasuke's feet was originally very flat, and the ice below was also very solid. But now, the ice layer had sunk more than 10 meters deep. With a single glance, one could tell that these were the traces left behind by the fire snake. The steam was boiling, and the steam had already condensed into a thick fog. At the same time, there were many burn marks on Naruto's clothes. His body moved, and the carbonized black spots fell off piece by piece. Sasuke was in an even worse state. His clothes looked as if they had been bitten by a dog. They were full of bite marks and holes. It was a standard beggar's uniform, and it was even a summer style. It was airy and cool. Looks like you've lost. Why? Are you convinced? If you're not convinced, then continue. Sasuke once again activated Rinnegan. Complete form, Susanoo. Chakra formed a pentagon around Sasuke's body, which was the control center of the complete Susanoo. Then, chakra materialized into a giant. Bones, muscles, and then to armor. Finally, with a teng. A pair of wings stretched out from behind. The complete Susanoo was still quite mighty and extraordinary. Naruto looked up at Sasuke. Is this enough? Sasuke controlled the Susanoo giant and directly stepped on Naruto, who was like a small ant. This kind of feeling could only be described with one word, cool. Just now, he was swallowed into his stomach, and now he finally got back his face. Sasuke didn't feel relieved after stepping on him, and he also crushed him fiercely. Do you think you're the only one who can get bigger? Naruto's voice sounded from the bottom of Susanoo's feet. Naruto shouted, Big. Susanoo only felt a slight movement under his feet, as if something was pushing him. Sasuke continued to step down, but the force under his feet was getting stronger and stronger. Naruto became bigger and bigger, and first, he dragged Susanoo's feet. Then, he hugged it and held it in his hand. Naruto was as tall as Susanoo. Sasuke frowned and said, Is this the multiplication jutsu? Naruto bared his teeth and showed a very bright smile. No. This is the Jubi mode, zero-tailed state. Naruto exerted force with both hands, hugged Susanoo's leg and suddenly swung it. Then, it hit the ground like a hammer. 80! Naruto shouted. Then, he raised it again and swung it again. 80! Boom! A crack appeared on Susanoo's armor. 80! It hit the ground again, 3 times in a row, and the ground was smashed down, forming a huge basin. Boom! Like the sound of glass breaking, Susanoo's armor powder was shattered. 80! Boom! The basin expanded. 80! Susanoo's muscles and bones were broken, and Sasuke was smashed out. Again. Next, I'll let you see the next Ichibi state. Naruto began to extract Kagaya's chakra. Naruto's figure rose again. Generally speaking, using the Jubi seal to seal the Jubi in the body, completely taking over the Jubi's power, and entering the mode is the 6-path Sage mode. But Naruto did not receive the Jubi's power. He just sealed it in the body. Just like when the 9-tailed beast was sealed. Therefore, the method of using chakra is more primitive. So, the Ichibi mode is a tail that pops out? No, the tail doesn't. It's just that a tomo appeared on the white cloak on the huge Naruto's body. His strength increased, and Naruto's hair rose into the sky, looking extremely brutal. Coupled with the scarlet Sharingan of 9 Tomo Sharingan, he was a living tyrant. Naruto slapped down. It's like killing a mosquito. The palm fell to the ground, and the basin was torn apart and turned into a canyon. Sasuke was dizzy under Naruto's fingers. Sasuke, your Rinnegan hasn't really been developed yet. Naruto raised his hand and slapped down again. Sasuke turned into black lightning and narrowly escaped the misfortune of being slapped to death. He leaped out of the fingers and stepped on the back of Naruto's hand to rush up along Naruto's arm. Naruto suddenly opened his mouth and took a breath. Ah, achoo! The wind and clouds rolled, and Sasuke was directly blown away. Rinnegan. Susanoo. Sasuke used Susanoo again, and when his body rose, the wings behind him flapped violently. Sasuke flew high and then untied a huge bow from his back. Draw the bow. Set the arrow. Shoot. The speed of the giant arrow was very fast, and Naruto barely caught it. Not bad. Let's try Nibi. Naruto's white robe had another mark of Magatama. His body grew sharply, and chakra formed a pair of huge wings under Naruto's control. Speed escape. Naruto blended into the wind, drifting like a shadow, illusory like smoke. Where are you looking? I'm behind you. Naruto patted Susanu's shoulder. Then he grabbed Susanu's waist and bent back. Upside down. At the moment of the head falling to the ground, Naruto imitated ninjutsu. Mount Lotus. Buzz. The big windmill rotated, and the centrifugal force made the two shoot straight to the ground. At that time, bullets were flying. Then, boom. Chapter 650. Susanoo shattered once again. Sasuke, you lost. According to the agreement, you have to cooperate with my experiment. The smile on Naruto's face was exceptionally bright. Perhaps it was stimulated by Naruto, but Susanoo, which was already in danger, suddenly stopped collapsing. Then, it began to heal. Yo. It seems that you haven't given up yet. Naruto raised his hand and grabbed Susanoo's leg, pulling out Susanoo, which was still stuck in the depths of the ice. Turning around, the big windmill swung. Susanoo spun 360 degrees in the air, circled around, and then smashed into the ground. 80. Violent attack. The scene was extremely cruel. Sasuke wanted to struggle again, but his head seemed to hit a bell, buzzing. His eyes were full of little stars. Finally, he fainted. It's done. Sasuke fainted, and the battle stopped. Naruto returned Otsutsuki Kagaya's chakra back. His body deflated and shrank back to its normal size in a few seconds. The scalpel was in place. Opening his eyelids, Sasuke's skillful technique didn't let him feel any pain, and his eyes were taken off. Yin-yang escape. True creation regeneration. Naruto pressed his hand on Sasuke's eyes. The dry eye sockets slowly bulged. From the beginning to the end of the operation, the time added together was less than 5 seconds. Most of the time was spent on yin-yang escape to repair the eyes, otherwise, it would definitely be faster. I got it. Naruto summoned Danzo's arm that was planted in the flower pot. Originally, the Shodai cells on this arm were almost cut off. Later, after Naruto killed Zetsu, he supplemented it. Only then did the arm that was cut to bones become plump again, and it could be considered lush. On Danzo's arm, there was only a pair of demon fox vertical pupils that Naruto replaced. Naruto pulled Danzo's arm out of the flower pot, and the wooden arm returned to normal. It was the color of flesh, but rather pale. This was because most of the cells were taken from the white Zetsu. Naruto flicked his finger, and the small wind blade formed by Chakra's scalpel cut open a wound on Danzo's arm. Then the two Rinnegan were stuffed in one by one. Don't worry, it would be great if you could awaken again. If it's not possible, I'll transplant it back for you. He put Danzo's arm back into the flower pot. The reverse summoning technique was sent back to the Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. In the spiritual network, Naruto contacted Defei and said, "Keep an eye on this guy. Report to me immediately if there are any unusual movements." After Danzo's arm left, Sasuke woke up in a daze. He opened his eyes and glanced at Naruto. He blinked his eyes. He quickly turned to look at the puddle on the ice. Sasuke saw a pair of ordinary black eyes. "Naruto, I'm going to kill you." Sasuke hysterically rushed to Naruto. Naruto easily dodged and said with a smile, "A real man must admit defeat. Well, it's time for us to go back. You work hard to awaken your eyes. I'm going back to accompany my Hinata." Naruto put his hand on Sasuke's shoulder. Sasuke gritted his teeth and kicked Naruto's crotch. Fortunately, Naruto reacted quickly. "Are you angry? Well, Angry is right, you should be angrier. Then angry, Sharingan will awaken. After Sharingan awakens, angry, Manjikyu Sharingan will awaken. By the way, speaking of Manjikyu Sharingan, Sasuke, what's the ability of Manjikyu Sharingan that you awakened before? Sasuke's face was black, he didn't answer and turned away. Naruto used body flicker technique to block Sasuke. I didn't see you use it just now, that ability is gone because your eyes evolved to Rinnegan? Sasuke still didn't answer. But no matter where Sasuke went, Naruto blocked him. Sasuke was so angry that he couldn't do anything. He can't beat him, he can't be shameless. What else can he do? It didn't disappear, but I didn't know how to use that trick, so I didn't use it. Naruto asked, "What kind of ability? Tell me, I think I can give you some advice." Sasuke looked at Naruto speechlessly, the blue veins on his forehead jumped. Naruto suddenly said, "By the way, why do I feel that you're not too angry? Or not angry enough? The momentum of wanting to kill the 6 paths just now is gone. I'm telling you, don't give me face, only when you're angry can your eyes awaken faster." Sasuke stared at Naruto. He gritted his teeth and said, "Can I beat you?" Ming smiled and said, "Of course, as long as you can beat me." Sasuke took a deep breath. In the end, he could only swallow his anger. Just now when Rinnegan was awakened, he wasn't Naruto's opponent. Now it's even more hopeless. The ability of those eyes. I can tell you. But you have to tell me, why are you so much stronger than me with Rinnegan? Naruto looked at Sasuke with contempt. You can't figure out this question? Sasuke asked tentatively, because of the Jubi in your body? Naruto shook his head and said with a serious face, "No, because I'm more handsome than you." Sasuke, with a cold face, he turned around and walked away. Naruto's body flicker technique appeared beside Sasuke. This time, he didn't block the way. The two of them walked side by side. Oh. If you can guess it, why are you still asking me? Are you looking down on your own IQ or me? Hurry up, tell me the ability of your eyes to satisfy my curiosity. Sasuke replied, "Although I think it's related to the Jubi, I can feel that even if you don't use the power of the Jubi, you seem to be stronger than me." Naruto shrugged and sighed. "That's natural. Because I'm stronger than you. The best example is a human being. Everyone has a head, 4 legs, including the hands, 2 eyes, and a nose. But between people, there is still a gap that can't be compared in a lifetime or even several lifetimes. For example, you and me. You will never catch up with my pace, wow. Haha. Haha." Looking at the arrogant Naruto, the expression on Sasuke's face was as if he had eaten a fly. Why did he ask this guy in front of him? Why did he talk to this guy? He's really cheap. He's looking for trouble. But Sasuke still didn't understand. He couldn't understand why Naruto was so strong. It doesn't make sense at all. Of course, the most unreasonable thing is why such a cheap person can be so strong. Why? Sasuke roared in his heart. Sasuke, you don't look so good. By the way, what ability did your Manjikyu Sharingan awaken? Chapter 651. Snow Country, Great Snow Mountain Research Institute. In the precious storage area, in a room with sunlight, a strange plant was leisurely stretching its branches, swaying in the sunlight. It looked very leisurely, like an old man lying in a rattan chair in front of his house, listening to a tune. Swaying. After an unknown period of time, the branches of the plant suddenly stiffened. On the main trunk of the plant, a light purple eye with rings like a tree's growth rings rolled. That eye looked to the side, looking at the eyeball with the same growth ring pattern. The latter seemed to have sensed something, and rolled. The two looked at each other. Then, they looked down at the same time. They looked at a pair of motionless red fox eyes. The two eyeballs with the growth ring pattern looked at each other again, and then launched a mental attack on the eyeball below. After the pair of fox eyes were attacked, its eyelids trembled a few times, and then closed bit by bit. It became dispirited. 1. The eyes with the growth ring pattern slowly moved. It seemed to want to find other guys to fight again. But not long after, the eyes with the growth ring pattern suddenly froze. Several blue veins bulged around the eyeballs. This strange scene lasted for a long time. At this moment, the whole plant was strangely quiet, and all the leaves seemed to be frozen. Then, when the blue veins receded, the eyes with the growth ring pattern could no longer hold on, and its eyelids sank as if it had fallen asleep. The pair of fox eyes that had been closed opened once again. Ripples rippled on the pupils, circle after circle, which were similar to the growth ring pattern in the eyes. However, the lines disappeared in a flash, leaving behind only the cold demon fox's vertical pupils. Sasuke, tell me, what ability did your eyes awaken? In the world of ice and snow, on the pure white snow, one in front and one behind, two teenagers slowly walked forward. Their footsteps were very light, not leaving a trace on the snow. This scene made people involuntarily think of something called a ghost. But the two of them were talking with hot air coming out of their mouths. Sasuke continued to walk forward, ignoring the chattering guy behind him. Naruto threatened, "Hey, if you don't tell me, I won't return those eyes to you." Sasuke stopped in his tracks. "You'll give it to me if I say so?" Naruto replied, "Of course. Isn't this an experiment? I'm not really going to steal your eyes." Sasuke asked, "When will you give it to me?" Naruto thought for a moment and replied, "When I'm sure you can't awaken Rinnegan." Sasuke continued to ask, "How can you be sure?" Naruto rubbed his chin. "How about we go find your brother? When you see your brother, you'll definitely explode with anger. If you still can't awaken by then, you can just switch back." Sasuke looked at Naruto seriously. In the end, they compromised. "My newly awakened ability is time reversal. To put it simply, it's time going back." Time reversal? Naruto couldn't help but curse. F***ck. So awesome. You can control time. Sasuke replied, "To be precise, it's not time control. Time doesn't actually exist. It's just a reference to record the behavior of objects. My ability is to restore the behavior of objects to the past." Naruto also knew that time doesn't exist. After pondering for a moment, he asked, "That's still very strong. Why didn't you use it just now?" Sasuke rolled his eyes at Naruto. "I can't beat you, but can I beat you by going back to the past?" Naruto hesitated. If you can go back to when I was just born, I think you should be able to defeat me easily." Sasuke rolled his eyes at Naruto again. "I can't do it. The consumption of this ability is not constant, but it varies according to the thing going back. Simply put, the lower the energy of the thing going back, the easier it is to go back. You. 10-tailed human pillar force. Not to mention going back to when you were just born, even going back to a day ago is impossible. Backtracking has another characteristic. The further you go back, the more energy you need, and the more it will multiply." "Well, that's all I know at the moment." Sasuke wouldn't say that. He had already used this ability in the battle just now. But he couldn't beat him even if he went back to the past. It was just that he was beaten up. It was super desperate. Naruto didn't know what Sasuke was thinking. He patted Sasuke's shoulder and comforted him, "Don't be discouraged. There's no such thing as a useless ability, only a useless person. Although your ability seems a bit useless. But believe me, I haven't found a suitable way to use it yet." Sasuke looked at Naruto. The smile on Naruto's face was very sincere. It didn't seem to be teasing him. I don't need you to comfort me. Hurry up and find Itachi for me." Naruto was full of confidence. "Don't worry, as long as he's still on this planet, he won't be able to escape my sight." Sasuke mocked, "Come on, it's been 3 years, and you still haven't found Orochimaru." Orochimaru? Naruto's face turned black. Orochimaru was really hard to find. He argued, that's because he's not a corpse reincarnation. Itachi can't do that. Sasuke didn't listen at all. It was rare to see something that could make Naruto unhappy. If he didn't scold him a few times, how could he be worthy of himself? If you can't find him, then you can't find him. Why do you have so many excuses? Naruto was deflated. Sasuke's footsteps became lighter. If I can't beat you to death, I'll anger you to death. Sasuke muttered in his heart and was about to ridicule him a few more times when the surroundings suddenly became quiet. He turned his head. Well, Naruto, that guy slipped away. Tisk bitch, you can't win and you run away. Since Naruto left, he didn't want to hitch a ride. Plus, his identity card was broken. He couldn't summon his armor. But fortunately, he had the Dragon Eagle. Sasuke formed a seal with both hands. Summoning technique. The Dragon Eagle was very happy to see Sasuke and kept chirping. Sasuke looked at the Dragon Eagle's wings. The wound on the wings had already healed. The Dragon Eagle chirped twice. Sasuke understood and replied, "Oh, you said that it was Naruto who treated you. This guy is rarely reliable." Chirp, chirp, chirp. Sasuke was a little unnatural. "You said that guy was very worried about me?" "Don't take it seriously, that must be an illusion." The dragon hawk flapped its wings and chirped excitedly. Sasuke was even more unnatural. He jumped up and landed on the back of the Dragon Eagle, and replied, "Okay, let's not talk about that guy. You are an ingrate. When your master was injured, I didn't see you so protective." The Dragon Eagle chirped a few times, as if it was very wronged. Sasuke combed the feathers on the back of the Dragon Eagle. "Okay, fly faster. If you really want to protect me, send me back early. I am still injured and need to rest." The Dragon Eagle flapped its wings and sped up. But when it was gliding, it didn't forget to chirp a few times and chat with Sasuke. Sasuke used psychic waves to translate what the Dragon Eagle wanted to say. "You said that Sakura Haruno is also very good? This is not something you should care about. You can care about me when you are no longer single." "Chirp chirp," the Dragon Eagle replied. Sasuke's expression didn't look good. "You found a partner? You didn't find one yesterday, right?" The Dragon Eagle chirped a few times. "Oh. You met a girl who took care of you after you were injured. That's good." Silly bird already had a girlfriend. He didn't know what Sakura liked about him. Chapter 652. A dazzling meteor streaked across the sky, and a dog flew faster and faster like a magnet. Finally, it stuck to the surface of the moon. Perhaps because there was no atmosphere on the surface of the moon, the starry sky here was particularly clear and intoxicating. "Boss, I've arrived." The Shiba Inu landed, and its handsome dog head scanned the surroundings vigilantly. This was probably the first official mission for the Shiba Inu, so it was particularly serious. But the scene was somewhat reminiscent of a Japanese invasion. And it was the Panchong-jong version. "Let's look for the palace. I don't know what it looks like, but I don't think there are many buildings on it." The Shiba Inu raised its paw and saluted. "Roger." On the moon, the Shiba Inu's body continued to grow. It expanded from the size of a car to the size of a house, and then to the size of a mountain. Then, it suddenly split apart and scattered in all directions. The first split was already tens of thousands of individuals. The second split was several times larger. The third split was followed by the fourth. It didn't stop until each individual was the size of a fist. Naruto watched this scene through the Shiba Inu's visual contribution. An idea popped up in his mind. If the appearance was changed to that of an alpaca, the scene, yes, it would be beautiful. Naruto continued to instruct on the spiritual network, "Send some of them into the air. It'll be faster to search the ground from a high altitude. Send some of them underground. There's a high possibility that the palace is an underground palace." The Shiba Inu received the order, and a portion of the Shiba Inu floated up. Earth escape. Maglev flying celestial dog. It flew by changing the gravitational and repulsive forces. The other portion of the Shiba Inu didn't have any special features. Boss, then we don't have to keep the ones on the ground, right? The Shiba Inu was quick-witted. Naruto replied, keep them. Information is synchronized. It'll be more efficient. Through the visual sharing, the hundreds of millions of Shiba Inu showed an expression of sudden realization. As expected of the boss. Why didn't I think of that? After instructing the Shiba Inu, Naruto clicked on the System's Intelligence System page. The intelligence system summarized all the intelligence network under Naruto's control. There were two main categories. One was the Underground Exchange, and the other was the System Forum. The Underground Exchange's intelligence was accurate, but its coverage was still weaker than the System Forum's. The System Forum was an information network formed by everyone who had an identity card. After Naruto distributed the ID cards to the various regions, the ability of this net was put to good use. However, its accuracy and authenticity were extremely unstable. The underground trading house would need to conduct a second evaluation. Today, there's still no news of Orochimaru's whereabouts. Although Naruto said that he would let Orochimaru go, he still wants to find Orochimaru. After all, they had been searching for 3 years. How could they give up just like that? Run, keep running. When I find you, I'll hang you up and give you a good beating. Naruto opened the map. On the map, the word Zhu was particularly conspicuous. It was a signal sent by the Akatsuki's ring, and the person it represented was Uchiha Itachi. Perhaps because he was used to wearing it, Skunk did not take it off. This made things easier for Naruto. He made a video call to Sasuke. Have you awakened your Sharingan? Sasuke stared at Naruto with a dark face and was about to speak when Naruto interrupted him. Well, I can see that it hasn't awakened yet. Sasuke's mouth twitched and reluctantly said, if you have something to say it quickly. If not, I'll hang up. Naruto was still smiling cynically. Don't worry, I found your brother. Are you ready to welcome the storm? Hearing Naruto say that he found Itachi, Sasuke finally became energetic. Where are you? I'll come to you. Naruto blinked. You mean you're ready? Well, I'll come to you. Space transmission. Naruto located Sasuke's position and directly transmitted to Sasuke's side. I'll take you there now. Do you need to prepare snacks? Sasuke replied, prepare? Okay, you can put my eyes back. Naruto. Naruto scratched his chin. Don't worry, I'll put your eyes back on. If your eyes can't awaken, I'll put them back on for you. Since you're not ready, then put this on. With that, a set of armed armor appeared in front of Naruto. Pure black, with thunder spray paint on it, it was designed to fit the body, and it didn't look bloated at all. This was designed for you by those girls who were worried about your safety. It has been added to it, and it can be automatically repaired by swallowing metal. Sasuke looked at the new armed armor. His original one was broken in the battle with Uchiha Itachi. Then he looked at Naruto with a look of distrust. Prepared for me? I think you want to use me as a guinea pig to test the data of the new armed armor, right? Naruto widened his eyes, pointed at the thunder spray paint on it, and said bitterly, you have to speak with your conscience, this lightning is for you. Sasuke looked at the thunder pattern again, and the thunder pattern was really cool. Sasuke didn't say anything more. He took out his identity card and stuck it on the armed armor. The system page jumped. System notification, bind 2B, number 001 armed armor? Sasuke's face was numb. 2B, which idiot came up with this name? System notification, binding complete, now synchronizing data. The metal of the armed armor flowed, wrapped around Sasuke, and directly pulled Sasuke into the armed armor. It looked like a spoon was inserted into hot chocolate. When Sasuke was completely pulled into the armed armor, the soft surface hardened again, reflecting the metallic luster, and the edges became clear. How do you feel? Sasuke tried to take 2 steps, punch, kick, and a series of fierce movements. He replied, "It seems to be a little different from the past." Naruto said proudly, "This is equipment integrated with live steel, how can it be the same? I didn't even have you, this is your first set." Naruto said it like it was true, and his expression and words were even full of resentment. But in fact, what he thought was, "Yes, you are a little white mouse, and I naturally have to wait. Heh heh heh. Well, the new equipment has been changed, let's go." The space was distorted, and Naruto put Sasuke into the inner world of preserved egg. Space transmission. Location: Uchiha Itachi. Naruto's figure suddenly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was in front of Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi was wearing the ring. "We meet again, are you surprised?" Naruto's face was filled with a sincere smile. Uchiha Itachi's pupils violently dilated, and he was shocked by the sudden appearance of Naruto. But his reaction was extremely fast, and he retreated in a flash. Fire release. Great fireball technique. The flames burned through Naruto. Body blurred. This was Obito's move. Naruto had become more and more skilled recently. The smile on Naruto's face remained unchanged. "Your opponent today is not me." The space behind Uchiha Itachi was distorted into a vortex, and Sasuke rushed out of the vortex and kicked the back of his brother's head. "Itachi, not killing me is your biggest mistake." Chapter 653. Uchiha Sasuke kicked the back of Uchiha Itachi's head, but he missed. In an instant, Itachi changed his hand seals. When Sasuke's foot kicked Itachi's body, he saw a group of crows scattered, then gathered in another place and changed into Itachi's appearance again. Substitution jutsu? No, Naruto didn't feel the fluctuation of space. Substitution jutsu is the lowest level of space ninjutsu. Refers to the setting of this book only. It's also a loophole caused by the incomplete rules of the world. It can't be used in another place. There are no fluctuations in space, so it's genjutsu. Naruto activated Rinnegan Sharingan, and the scene in front of him changed. Sasuke and Itachi's positions were restored, and both of them were motionless. Itachi's left eye is bleeding. It's not Rinnegan, nor the Manjikyu Sharingan of the past, but the eternal Manjikyu Sharingan after fusion with Sasuke's eyes. One eternal Manjikyu Sharingan, what about the other? The other one is illuminated by an eye patch. There's a seal on it. Is it Rinnegan? System alert. Mecha B2-001 operators I has been damaged. Naruto brought up the operation page. The scene turned to the inside of the armor. Sasuke's eyes are bleeding. Pupil. There's no change, it's still an ordinary eye. Is it because he's mentally prepared that he didn't evolve? If I knew, I would have pretended to take the eye in that case. Naruto thought about it and shook his head. It's useless to get so many Rinnegan. If it can't be awakened, then it can't be awakened. Naruto took a deep breath and exhaled. Well, forget it. Change Sasuke's eyes back, and then continue to watch the show. Naruto took a step forward, but at this time, Sasuke's dim pupils suddenly changed. One Tomo. It appeared. On the spiritual battlefield where Sasuke and Uchiha Itachi were. Itachi's hand pierced Sasuke's eyes and dug them out. Foolish little brother, you are so weak and pitiful. It's all because you don't hate me enough. It's my fault. Sasuke trembled in pain. In the spiritual world, Sasuke's armor disappeared. At this moment, he looked frail, helpless, pained, and regretful. There was also hysterical unwillingness. Give me back my eyes. Bastard. Sasuke rushed toward Uchiha Itachi. Itachi's body turned into a flock of crows, scattered in all directions, and then reformed behind Sasuke. Perhaps I overestimated your tolerance. This is also my fault. Sasuke clenched his fists tightly and roared, "Don't talk to me endlessly. Someone who killed his parents. What qualifications do you have to talk about tolerance after killing the whole family? In your eyes, only killing can solve problems. Do you know that of all the powers in this world, the power to kill is the lowest level? Itachi froze for a moment. He ignored the first half of Sasuke's words. People who walk different paths cannot work together. In his opinion, the family that disappointed him was no longer qualified to exist in this world. But Sasuke's last sentence made him think deeply. Of all the powers, the power to kill is the lowest level. Is this what you've comprehended? Sasuke replied, No, Naruto said it. But I think it makes sense. Uchiha Itachi pondered, then what kind of power did he say is high level? Sasuke closed his eyes and whispered, he said. When he opened his eyes again, the disappeared eyeballs returned. 3 Tomo Sharingan. Sasuke's figure disappeared, and dense chains emerged from the ground. The chains entangled Itachi from all directions like snakes. He said that the power of immortality is the highest level. Sasuke appeared in front of Itachi and pierced his fingers into his eyes. He dug hard. However, the next moment, the roles of the two were reversed. Sasuke was tied in chains, and Itachi's fingers were close to Sasuke's eyes. Uchiha clan's eyes? That guy changed it for you. But what's the use of that? Itachi's fingers pierced Sasuke's eyes. However, the next moment, Sasuke disappeared. Itachi suddenly felt that someone who shouldn't exist here had entered this world. Well, I'm sorry. I'll call an intermission. Naruto smiled like a big boy next door, scratching the back of his head awkwardly. Itachi looked at Naruto. Sasuke was next to that person. Itachi, Naruto continued, wait a minute, you can continue to fight. After that, Naruto disappeared, and Sasuke also disappeared. Naruto can enter and exit his Tsukuyomi space at will. Looking at the place where Naruto disappeared, Itachi murmured, It seems that I can only use Rinnegan to deal with Rinnegan. When Itachi's consciousness returned to the real world, there was no one around, only the wind blowing through the treetops. The leaves swayed in the wind, withered and fell. Has he left? Itachi squinted and felt the breath around him. He felt nothing. Naruto left? Sort of. In the inner world, Naruto was performing an eye transplant on Sasuke. After Sasuke regained consciousness, he lay motionless and waited for the operation to be performed. He asked, Did it fail? Naruto replied, Well, it failed. Itachi should have obtained Rinnegan. Although it was useless just now, the power of Rinnegan has been added to Tsukuyomi. The effect is that although it is a mental attack, your body in the real world is also affected. Sasuke asked, What effect? Naruto looked at the eyes on the ground and hesitated. This, you can see for yourself later. Naruto waved his hand, and Danzo's arm appeared in his hand. He skillfully dug out the 2 Rinnegan and completed the transplant. Finally, he used the enhanced version of Yin-Yang release. TSK, good skill, it's the same as before. Naruto praised himself. Sasuke rolled his eyes and blinked. He got up and sat up. Then, he saw the crippled eyeballs that Naruto mentioned. Indeed, it was already crippled. Both of its eyeballs were so deflated that it looked as if it had been squeezed by someone. The second time you dug out my eyes, Sasuke took a deep breath and said to Naruto, Where's my helmet? The helmet referred to the helmet of the armor. At this moment, Sasuke was wearing the armor, and his head was bare. Naruto replied, It's still on you. Your operating system can be put on. After Sasuke put it on again, he questioned, You can control my equipment? Naruto smiled awkwardly. I can't control how to change your eyes. Sasuke snorted. Forget it this time. Give me all the authority when we go back. Okay, take me to Itachi. Naruto smiled. Got it. Naruto's body returned to the outside world. Uchiha Itachi had already left. However, The ring seemed to be still on. Space teleportation. Naruto appeared in front of Itachi again. "Excuse me, the intermission is over." Chapter 654. Naruto's smiling face was blooming, like a proud sunflower, blooming while chasing the sun. His face was quite bright. On the opposite side, Itachi was also looking at Naruto. To be precise, he was looking at Naruto's eyes. It was a pair of red Rinnegan with 3 circles and 9 tomo. Thinking, has this guy been following me all the time, or did he find me directly with a special ability? If it's the former, it means that he has the ability to hide his aura. If it's the latter, it means he's very difficult to deal with. Itachi thought, and his finger subconsciously rubbed the ring on his ring finger. Rubbing his middle finger and ring finger was a small action he didn't know when he developed it. "Well, are you going to do it this time?" Uchiha Itachi's expression was cold, even arrogant. This reminded Naruto of the first time he fought with him. At that time, he and Jiraiya went to find Tsunade, and Itachi and Kisame wanted to catch him, the Nine Tails human pillar force. At that time, well, strictly speaking, that time wasn't a fight, but he used all his moves once, and finally, he was desperate and detonated all the explosive tags on his body. Then, in the huge explosion, he was blown away. If he hadn't met Tsunade, he might have been disfigured at that time. The past was unbearable to look back on. No, although I also want to do it, there's an annoying guy who keeps yelling that you're his. The space around Naruto distorted, forming a vortex. "Go! Sasuke Beast!" At the moment when Sasuke came out, Naruto suddenly shouted. Sasuke suddenly felt a burst of shame and disgust. But Sasuke still rushed over. Itachi looked coldly at his younger brother who was rushing towards him. He mocked. "Are you still so reckless? It seems that you didn't learn the lesson you should have." Sasuke didn't answer and kicked the same as last time. Wood Leaf Whirlwind. The target was Itachi's abdomen. At this moment, Naruto activated Rinnegan in advance. Although Rinnegan's dojutsu is always open, when it is not injected into chakra, the state of Rinnegan is only in a low-power standby state. This is also the reason why Naruto was affected by Uchiha Itachi's dojutsu last time. Only in this book about the setting of the Rinnegan. Rinnegan opened, and the world in front of Naruto slowed down. Compared to the dynamic visual effect of Sharingan, Rinnegan is much better. Itachi and Sasuke's speed was slowed down by more than 100 times. It was like a snail meeting a tortoise. Sasuke's leg was 5 meters away from Itachi's abdomen. Uchiha Itachi made hand seals. It was an illusion. It was the same as last time. Next, if Uchiha Itachi is also affected by Genjutsu, he should turn into a crow and fly away. In the real world, Sasuke should have misjudged and kicked in front of Uchiha Itachi. At least that was the case last time. What about this time? With Naruto's understanding of Sasuke, Sasuke is not a person who will make the same mistake. Naruto's summary of Sasuke is that the blood feud made Sasuke live a delicate life. They met. Naruto observed carefully. Sasuke paused and landed in front of Uchiha Itachi. The distance between the two was 2 meters, and this kick would definitely hit the air. But the next moment, Sasuke's figure continued to move forward 1 meter, and then hit Uchiha Itachi. What happened? The moment of pause seen by Rinnegan is absolutely impossible to see with ordinary eyes. Uchiha Sasuke kicked Uchiha Itachi. Uchiha Itachi's genjutsu ended. Sasuke stepped forward after kicking Uchiha Itachi. Under the lightning body flicker technique, only a flash of lightning could be seen. When he reappeared, he blocked the direction where Uchiha Itachi was kicked. Combo, waist strike. In Naruto's vision, Uchiha Itachi's expression was still indifferent at this moment. No, it shouldn't be said indifferent, but an absolutely calm fighting style. Even if there is a special situation, even if the special situation is beyond his own expectations, this man can still be absolutely calm. This is a person who lives to fight. His will is firm, and there is no trace of confusion in his eyes, let alone failure. Uchiha Itachi was still able to respond when his body was flying, and his hands were forming hand seals. Naruto stared at the front, waiting for what would happen next. However, in the picture, Sasuke's trajectory paused abnormally again, and he hit again. Then, after kicking Itachi away, Uchiha Sasuke caught up with him again, this time attacking from top to bottom. This technique, this posture. Hyuga clan's gentle fist. Vacuum palm. According to common sense, this move can't be used without the Byakugan, but it's different with the system's assistance. The system will scan the opponent with a medical-level perception enchantment, accurately mark the enemy's acupuncture points, and give the user very detailed information about the acupuncture points. If this information is read normally, of course, it can't keep up with the rhythm of the battle, but the transmission of spiritual information is different. The transmission of spiritual information can be obtained in an instant. Therefore, it's particularly good. Boom! There was a loud explosion in the air. Naruto was stunned. Fire release? This move is too familiar. This is Hinata's new move, and Sasuke has learned it. After the copy ninja Kakashi was laid off, Sasuke succeeded? The explosion raised smoke and dust. Naruto's Rinnegan saw the battle through the smoke and dust at this time. Uchiha Itachi used Susanoo. It seems to have blocked the attack. No. Uchiha Itachi vomited blood. That move was not blocked. What did you do? Uchiha Itachi wanted to swallow the blood in his mouth, but he didn't succeed and spat out a mouthful of blood. Sasuke looked at Uchiha Itachi and Susanoo and sneered, "From now on, don't even think about hitting me and my attack." Sasuke's figure disappeared, and the feeling of incoherence in Naruto's eyes appeared again. The next moment, Uchiha Itachi was hit. Susanoo's defense was directly ignored, and Uchiha Itachi's abdomen caved in, and he was hit again. Don't even think about avoiding it. Boom! The explosion sounded again. From the inside of Susanoo. Susanoo shone on Uchiha Itachi, and the whole picture looked like it was about to explode. The impact of the explosion was suppressed inside Susanoo, and Uchiha Itachi was seriously injured. Boom! Susanoo could no longer be maintained and directly shattered. Uchiha Itachi's face was still calm. Uchiha Sasuke attacked again. 8 trigrams 64 palms. The acupuncture points were blocked, and Uchiha Itachi had no chance to fight back. To be on the safe side, Uchiha Sasuke also gave his brother 2 pills. The pills used by the Mercenary Academy to catch fugitives, one was super nerve paralysis, and the other was chakra disintegration. Needless to say, nerve paralysis is used to paralyze the enemy's motor nerves. Chakra disintegration resists the fusion of spiritual power and cell vitality, and fundamentally prevents the enemy from using chakra. You lost, dear brother. Naruto quietly asked, "Did you use your new ability just now? Time backtracking, right?" Sasuke looked at Naruto. "In the spiritual network," he replied, "you can see it?" Naruto didn't hide it. "Well, with my Rinnegan, I can see some traces, but I can't see what you did backtracking. This move is very strong. Why don't you try it on me, and we fight again? I feel that I may not be your opponent after all, your move is too strange." Sasuke replied coolly, "I don't want to bully you." For a time, every cell in Sasuke's body seemed to be comfortable. "Don't want to bully me?" He would never say that he had used it last time against Naruto. But the effect was surprisingly poor. "Well, I can't say it, I have to continue pretending to be deep." Sasuke looked at his brother. "Your arrogance will eventually destroy you." Sasuke felt that all the cells in his body were doing comfortable. Chapter 655. After Uchiha Itachi was caught, Naruto brought him to the Mingdu Empire. Midway, Uchiha Itachi activated his Rinnegan and tried to escape, but, in front of 2 people with Rinnegan, he couldn't do anything. Mingdu Empire, Naruto's special dissection room? No, it should be an exclusive laboratory. Don't worry, I just took his eyes off. Naruto comforted Sasuke. Sasuke snorted, you don't have to explain to me, I have nothing to do with him. Is that so? Naruto raised his eyebrows. He glanced at the guy who was obviously nervous but didn't say anything. He was a little cute. The operation began. The high-precision medical perception enchantment on the operating table scanned Uchiha Itachi's body. Naruto looked at Itachi's body data and sighed, this guy really integrated with Hashirama's cells obtained from the Dragon Eagle. But there is still a difference between the Dragon Eagle's flesh and Hashirama's cells. According to my research, the reason why Hashirama's cells can be successfully integrated into the Uchiha clan, Uzumaki clan, and Hyuga clan is mainly because these three clans have the same bloodline origin. As for Danzo's case, it's because Orochimaru changed the composition of the cells. He removed the part that can't be integrated, but it's just barely integrated. Because of this, Danzo has been sealing that arm. Tisk what a mess. Naruto continued, it seems that Rikudo Sennin isn't omnipotent, or Rikudo Sennin didn't care about this guy's life at all, he just used him as a chess piece. Hearing Naruto's words, Sasuke became nervous. Is it serious? Naruto looked at the guy who just said that he broke off his relationship with him, and he wanted to laugh, but he held back. What he said was not to tease Sasuke, he was telling the truth. It's serious. Transplanting the fused cells of the Dragon Eagle can repair the hidden injuries in his body, and let his worn-out ship barely continue to sail, but it's only temporary. It only changes his current physical condition. How should I say it? It's like a person who is sick and dying, and he has 1 year left. Before fusing with Hashirama's cells, he has to go through a year of illness before he dies. After the fusion, he will die again, the only difference is that he won't feel the illness for 1 year. Listening to Naruto's words, Sasuke's face paled. That is, he only has one to die? Saru said shook his head. Said. I'm, eyes. Setsu finally two. Setsu two. Setsu's to die. Sasuke's face instantly changed. What's the difference between a year and a half? Resisting the urge to strangle Naruto, Sasuke suppressed his anger and asked, then, is there any way to remedy it? Naruto nodded happily. Yes, your brother's transplanting time isn't long. Just dig out the fused Hashirama cells and replace them with pure Hashirama cells. It'll be perfect if he survives. Not only can he avoid the pain, but he can also live to 180 years old, if he doesn't seek death. Of course, if he's a ninja and squeezes the vitality of the body, he can also live to 60 years old. There is a solution. Sasuke's heart was relieved. He looked at Naruto with expectation. Naruto understood the meaning in Sasuke's eyes and replied, but why should I save him? This guy wants me to die. Sasuke hesitated and explained, but, he's no longer a threat to you. His Rinnegan and Sharingan were all dug out by you. Even if he fused with Hashirama's cells, he won't be a threat to you. Naruto shook his head and said, this reason is not enough. Sasuke said again, the value of those 2 eyes is comparable to a piece of Hashirama's cells, right? Naruto nodded in agreement and said, of course, it's comparable, and it's a lot more. But, at that time it was my trophy. Sasuke said unconvinced, I defeated him. Naruto smiled and said, it's also me who gave you the power to defeat this person, right? Sasuke was angry. He swore that he had never seen such a shameless person. You promised me to treat him. Naruto nodded and said, yes, but he ran away and plotted against me. The previous promise was cancelled out by his own actions. Sasuke thought for a while and pointed to his eyes and said, then what about my eyes? Naruto curled his lips and said, your eyes are too ugly, I don't like them. Sasuke took a deep breath, his head finally opened, and he asked, what do you want? Naruto showed a smile that was right. He patted Sasuke's shoulder. Don't be nervous, my conditions are not difficult. First, your brother has to hand over Shisui's other Sharingan. Although that has no effect on me, it's quite a threat to the people around me. Second, it's simpler. You help your brother pay off his debt, and follow me as a little follower. Don't worry, I will give you a salary, and it will definitely be the highest. Sasuke was about to refuse when Naruto raised his voice and continued, as for the deadline, let's wait until your brother dies. As long as your brother lives, you will be my follower for a day, and when he dies, you will be free. How about this exchange? It's not too much, right? Sasuke opened his mouth and closed it again, looking down at his brother who had lost his eyes and was wrapped in gauze. Naruto continued, let me give you another surprise package. After I get married, if you perform well, and your brother doesn't bring me any trouble, I will install a pair of bright eyes for your brother. How about it? It shouldn't feel good to be blind. The eyes I install will definitely be comparable to the original, and there won't be any problems. If there is a problem, I will enjoy the national security for the rest of my life, and I will only replace it. After saying that, Naruto winked. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Although he felt that Naruto was extremely unreliable, the condition of installing a pair of eyes could be regarded as the last straw that overwhelmed Sasuke's thought choice. Does Naruto need his protection? Need fart. The biggest use of letting him be a follower is probably to disgust him. This kind of bad taste reminded him of the time in Woodleaf. When he fought with my love, he wanted to accept a follower. When he fought with Ningji, he also did the same. It's enough. Whatever, I agree. You save him. Naruto smiled more brightly, and solemnly patted Sasuke's shoulder. Don't worry, I won't treat you badly, and when I eat meat in the future, I will definitely not forget a bowl of soup. Sasuke regretted. Will Naruto talk like this in the future? It's a nightmare. But, what can I do if I don't agree? It's so desperate. Naruto came to Uchiha Itachi's side and changed the topic, but, before that, I have to see one more person. Naruto pulled Itachi's hand away, and there was a mark on Itachi's palm. It was the mark of Yin-Yang release, given by the 6 paths. Naruto raised his hand and pressed it on the seal, and waved to Sasuke, come here, I'll take you to see it. Chapter 656. Naruto connected his spiritual power to the mark of Yin-Yang on Itachi's hand, and the scene in front of him changed. Drip. The sound of water falling rang in his ears. The scene in front of him was dim as always, like the sunset at dusk. The water on the ground shimmered, and Naruto looked down. Naruto saw Azura's appearance. Black hair, a hairstyle similar to Naruto's in the past. His forehead was tied with a white cloth band, and there were 2 white cloth bundles on his temples. Handsome face, no beard, and a square face. Why can I see Azura? Is it because this guy is still hiding in his chakra? Or is this just a screening set by the 6 paths, and as long as he has Azura's chakra in his body, he will be detected? Well, I hope it's not the former. Naruto looked down and looked at Sasuke's reflection. It was Indra's face, and unlike Azura's calm face, Indra's face was full of arrogance. And more vivid? Azura's reflection was more or less dull. In the hairstyle, long hair, long bangs, fluffy hair, and the same tuft of hair on both sides. Look, I was more handsome than you in my previous life. Naruto elbowed Sasuke. Sasuke glanced at Naruto's feet and didn't say anything. At this moment, he just wanted to find the 6 path Sennin and ask about Uchiha Itachi. Is anyone home? Naruto shouted at the top of his voice. His voice stirred up waves and spread around, but no one responded. Naruto said to Sasuke, it seems that no one is home. Then I won't be polite. I was going to talk to the 6 path Sennin, but it doesn't matter. With that, Naruto's left hand pressed down on his feet. Intricate runes appeared on Naruto's hand, and then expanded toward the surface of the water, forming a complete rune array. He had learned this formation from Scorpion, and it was the upgraded version of the Golem Core rune. In the past 3 years, He had upgraded from 3 cores to 18 cores. Swallow it. Naruto roared and activated the formation. The surface of the water surged and a huge whirlpool formed with Naruto at the center. Stop. A loud roar exploded in his ears. It was the voice of the Sage of the Six Paths. The spiritual attack of the Sage of the Six Paths should not be underestimated, but the Sage of the Six Paths was dead, and Naruto had the Rinnegan. Naruto only felt that his mind was in a trance for a moment, but other than that, he was fine. The 18 core spirit designs were not affected and continued to devour. Bastard! How dare you devour my power? Hagoromo Sennin was furious and stared at Naruto with his eyes wide open. Naruto raised his head and said with a cheeky smile, "Can I only let you plot against me? Take this imprint as compensation." The power of the formation was pushed to the extreme, and the whirlpool became bigger and bigger. Even the spiritual space of the Six Paths was affected, and thunder flashed above his head. Bastard! Do you know what you are doing? Naruto's mouth twitched, and he rolled his eyes and retorted, "Can you stop calling me a bastard? I just inherited your son's chakra. I am not your son. Who gave you the right to teach me a lesson?" Naruto stared at the Sage of the Six Paths, and activated the 9 hooks and Rinnegan. Remember, when everyone treated you like a monster, who was the one who stayed by your side? She won't care if you're ugly or not, or if you're smart, or if you're seriously ill. Her love for you is only because you are her flesh and blood. In Naruto's body, Kagaya's heartstrings were touched. She recalled the scene when she first gave birth to the 2 children. At that time, the 2 children were so cute, innocent, and full of yearning for the future. "Mom, I want to be the greatest person in the future. Mom, when I grow up, I will protect you. Mom, I want to go out and play. Mom, I want to go out and see the outside world. Mom, I heard a child's voice outside. Can I go out and play with him?" If she didn't agree to that request, would the result be different? "Mom, why don't they have horns on their heads? Mom, they said I am a monster." "I am not a monster, Mom." That day, there was blood in the palace. "Mom, where is the child? The people outside said you killed him." "Mom, did you really kill him?" "They said you are a monster that eats people." "I don't want to live with a monster. You are not my mother. I don't recognize you as my mother." Tears flowed out uncontrollably, wetting her face. At this moment, Kagaya no longer had the majesty of a superior, only the heartache of a mother. Was it wrong? Was it wrong for her to kill people? Those people insulted her most beloved child. Shouldn't they be killed? She just wanted to protect her child. Kagaya cried. As the human pillar force, Naruto was the first to feel it. Every drop of sadness fell to the ground and dripped into his heart. All the hesitation contained in it could be felt by Naruto. Affected, Naruto's eyes were also wet. At the same time, Hagoromo was affected by the 9 hooks and reincarnation Sharingan and fell into an illusion. After all, at this time, Hagoromo was just an incomplete will. Hagoromo once again experienced the pain of childhood. Everyone was ridiculing him, and countless monsters echoed in his ears. Just when he was about to go crazy, suddenly, he heard a woman crying. It was the voice of his mother, Kagaya Otsutsuki. He walked towards the sound. Walking around the corridor, he saw his helpless mother through the window. "Why are you pretending to be pitiful? Everything is your fault. You man-eating monster." The childlike Six Paths immortal was looking for something, and then he grabbed a stone. He walked into the house. "What are you going to do? Are you going to kill your mother?" Naruto appeared behind Hagoromo Sennin. "You're so ugly that you can only live on hypocritically by proving others wrong. Do you know why your mother is called a monster? Because she has an extra pair of horns. Because she has power beyond the imagination of mortals. But do you know? You have these too, so if you think your mother is a monster, then you are also a monster. The childlike immortal of 6 paths panicked as if he had lost his mind. He kept muttering, "I'm not a monster, I'm not a monster. She's the monster, not me. I'm not a monster." Naruto continued, "Do you know? The reason why this country was able to avoid the pain of war, and why they have time to gossip about your mother, is because of your mother." "It was your mother who defeated the invaders by herself," Limu said. "This is the protection she gave to her people. Her strength saved this country from a huge sacrifice. What about you? You are not a monster. What have you done for others? Fool, you are like a tiger that thinks of itself as a rabbit, sucking your mother's juices while scolding her for hunting rabbits." The childlike Hagoromo stared at Naruto with wide eyes. Naruto lowered his body and said seriously, "You are the monster." Chapter 657. You're the monster. You're the monster. You're the... Naruto's voice kept echoing in Hagoromo's ears. Hagoromo's face collapsed as he painfully grabbed the horn on his head. I'm not a monster." The childlike Hagoromo was in tears. His voice was hoarse from crying. Naruto smiled. Hagoromo's mind was broken. What an unexpected gain. But it was understandable. After all, the Hagoromo in front of him was only a remnant soul. In the past, Naruto thought that Hagoromo was the world's will, but after interacting with Hagoromo, Naruto was sure. How could there be such a shameful world's will? Hagoromo was only a pawn of this world. It couldn't be the world's will itself. "It's over." Naruto raised his hand to touch Hagoromo's head. The entire illusion space began to collapse. Houses turned into sand. Rivers flowed backwards. Not only the illusion space, but even Hagoromo's mind space was collapsing. This was the price to pay for losing one's mind. "You've done very well." Naruto's hand was only a few millimeters away from Hagoromo's head. The collapse of his mind space meant that Hagoromo was doomed to die. But the childlike Hagoromo's pupils suddenly changed. Rinnegan was triggered for no reason. The tears on Hagoromo's face disappeared, and he instantly turned into an old Hagoromo. Naruto called Sasuke with his mind energy. "It's your turn. Use time reversal." Sasuke activated his Rinnegan and reversed Hagoromo's collapsed world. Sasuke pressed his hand on Naruto's body and appeared in the illusion. The illusion went back to when Hagoromo was still a child. Naruto looked at Hagoromo with pity. "It's over." "Huh? Sasuke? Since you've appeared, that means..." Sasuke didn't answer. He put his hand on Naruto's hand and pressed it on the head of the childlike sage of 6 paths. Success or failure depended on this one move. However, the immortal of the 6 paths eye technique was still awakened. Sasuke stared into the eyes of the immortal of 6 paths. He felt an inexplicable chill. Was this the enemy Naruto had chosen? What's with this aura? Endless and boundless. He couldn't even muster the slightest thought of resisting. Sasuke's time reversal ability was terminated. What Sasuke felt, Naruto also felt. The whole world fell into darkness and fear. Naruto grabbed Sasuke and retreated. That thing couldn't be the sage of 6 paths. It was the will of the world. It was clear that the will of the world wanted to protect this chess piece. Naruto took Sasuke out of the spiritual world of the sage of 6 paths. On Itachi's hand, the imprint of yin-yang release also disappeared, leaving no trace, as if it had never been there. Sasuke opened his eyes and said with lingering fear, "What was that just now? Was that the real power of the sage of 6 paths?" Naruto took a deep breath and patted Sasuke's shoulder comfortingly. "You have to be mentally prepared. You may be particularly unlucky in the coming days. You'd better be vigilant when drinking water. Be careful not to choke yourself to death. Also, it's best not to have a good impression of Sakura at this time. Otherwise, she may fall in love with someone else." Let me think about it." By the way, why don't you go gamble? Lose a few $100 million in gambling. It can at least alleviate your bad luck. Sasuke was more and more confused. What are you talking about? What nonsense are you talking about? Naruto thought about it. He couldn't directly tell Sasuke that he had just talked to the will of the world, so he could only change his words. I think that the Sage of Six Paths knows witchcraft. He can curse people. So you may be particularly unlucky in the coming days. Sasuke thought about it. He could barely understand this statement. Sasuke pointed to himself and said, "Am I the only one affected? What about you?" Naruto looked around with a guilty conscience. "I have to be careful." "Well, you go back and rest first. I won't trouble your brother. I will ask Tsunade to operate on him later." Sasuke was dissatisfied. "Tsunade? You don't want to do it yourself?" Naruto said in a bad mood, "I'm doing this for your brother. If I do it, your brother may die directly. Do you still want me to do it?" Thinking of what Naruto said before, Sasuke hesitated. "Is it that serious?" Naruto nodded very seriously. Sasuke finally nodded and agreed. Before Sasuke left, he suddenly turned back and asked, "Then, will your Hinata suddenly fall in love with someone else?" Naruto glared and kicked Sasuke out of the door. "Get out of here. Crow's mouth. The curse seems to have worked." Sasuke was hung on the wall by a huge force and couldn't help but think. After Sasuke left, he closed the door. Naruto cursed a few times, and a smile appeared on his face again. The possibility of Hinata falling in love with someone else is still very low. Things like emotions can't be changed directly by luck. It takes a long time, and it needs to constantly have small conflicts, and then lead to big conflicts, and gradually evolve to the point of falling in love with someone else and breaking up. But by that time, Naruto would have already solved this world. Because now, the day of the wedding is getting closer and closer. Preserved Egg is now holding back from devouring this world, and is only waiting for Naruto's wedding. Naruto's face was even more joyful. Not to mention the loss, the harvest this time is not small. Although Uchiha Itachi didn't devour all of Hagoromo's Inyong release, seal, he devoured most of it. Naruto could feel that the rules he mastered are more complete. This process is like taking part of the authority from Hagoromo and strengthening it to himself. Inyong release. The power of creation. Naruto raised his hand and imagined a kunai in his hand. Then a kunai directly appeared in Naruto's hand. This is Inyong release. The power of creation of In release. Preserved Egg, who was silent for a long time, suddenly said, "Come to the inner world and have a look. The changes here are great." Naruto's thoughts moved, and he appeared in the inner world. The flat yellow soil disappeared, and the shell moved. Mountains rose one after another, but the most beautiful thing is not the mountains, but the water. Or the ocean. It seems that this place is going to evolve into a real world. Naruto sighed. As the shell moved and squeezed, the volcano erupted. Hot air rose, cold air fell, and the change in air pressure formed a refreshing wind. The wind blew through his hair, and the joy on Naruto's face became more and more joyful. Preserved Egg replied, "Kind of, but this is far from enough. This is just a star. The real world is far more than this. If you want to have a real world, what you need to devour is not a star, but a starry sky." Devour a starry sky? Naruto's heart surged. There will be a starry sky in the future that belongs to me? System notification. You have received a video call request from your wife. Logically speaking, it is impossible to receive messages from the outside world in this world. After all, the rules here are not synchronized with the outside world. It is an independent and autonomous world. However, with Preserved Egg transferring the message, it is still possible. It is equivalent to sending the message to Preserved Egg, and then Preserved Egg will copy the message and forward it to Naruto. Naruto answered the call. Hinata's image appeared in front of Naruto. Hinata's eyes were a little red, as if she was crying. "Naruto-kun, Why don't we hold the wedding first? Naruto only felt a buzz in his head. What happened to good luck not affecting emotional ties? What a stupid world. *CK your mother. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.